Good evening and welcome to the Select Board meeting. Today is August 22nd, 2023 at 6 o'clock in the Selectmen's Chambers. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Teresa Amos here.
Joseph Frank here.
Chad Sexton-Duranian here. 1.2, Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to thank all those who have served the country, current and past, and all those first responders. Thank you for your service. 1.3 is being recorded and it will be uploaded to YouTube. 1.4 Chairman's additions or deletions. I do have an addition, 1.41 directly after this. This will be just a general comment from the chair. Anybody else have anything they want to add? No? Okay. 1.41. I just wanted to announce that I've received many emails and several phone calls regarding the Board of Health's bi-monthly meeting on August 9th. From the feedback I got from residents, I agree that in this meeting there were several issues that the Select Board will be looking into. Because of the seriousness of these issues, the Select Board will need more time to sift through our options. After several conversations with the town administrator and town council, it has been determined that we will be addressing these issues head-on with a request to meet about the matter directly with the parties involved. Once all parties have been addressed and the Select Board has had a chance to deliberate, we will hopefully come forward with a plan of action. I want to thank those who took the time out of their busy day to email me. 1.5, update on charter, Mr. Page.
Thank you. As everyone knows, we've been working on this charter for a while. We went through a bunch of different hiccups, but we got through most of them. On June 20th, as some people may know, I went into Boston to the State House. Our representative, Margaret Scarsdale, was also part of that meeting virtually, and that was the Joint Committee on Municipalities and Regional Government. You're going to hear lots of fun names here. So that was there, and that was on June 20th. On July 13th, it was reported favorably out of that committee, which was a very good thing, and sent to the Joint Committee on Steering, Policy, and Scheduling. And it was also named as one of the orders of the day, whatever that means, but I'm sure they do on Beacon Hill. On the 17th of August, it was referred to the committee on third reading, which my understanding is that's the final step before it's voted on by the House and the Senate. So it's very likely, in fact, I have a couple communications over to Representative Scarsdale's office to see if we can get an idea as to when that vote might occur. But it looks like it's going to be very soon. And as I look at the agenda tonight, I notice on 4.1 you have a creation of bylaw committee. I think it might be prudent to work on that, but also keep in mind that some of the things that that committee might be looking at will be addressed in our soon to be approved charter. So just as a little background information. Any questions from anybody?
I thank you very much for all the work that you're doing, and thank you for your shepherding this through like you have been.
I know if I could get a dog to help me herd these sheep, that would be
I do have a border collie.
That's what I need. Okay, so next meeting, bring it.
He just eats, though. He keeps the dog coffee.
Well, that's a good thing. Okay. Anyway,
Thank you for your service and your help on that.
my pleasure. Sometime.
Thank you very much.
And anything else, John, just let me know.
We'll do.
Thank you, sir. 2.1, a one-day special license. Let's see. Is Kelsey on?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Hi, Kelsey. How are you?
Good, how are you guys?
I'm good. So this is a one-day special license for JK Management Unlimited LLC for an event at Evans on the Common on 9/16/2023, and this will be held between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. This is an event that we've already had issued permits to before. They have submitted all of the required documentation. There's a caterer's license, there's liability. I just got the liability in today. The only thing that I am missing, Kelsey, is there's I need some sort of a map or an outline of where the alcohol is going to be served, and is it going to be in a contained area? Is there any way that you could provide the board with that?
Yes, I did send that map over to Sabrina a few weeks ago, but I can definitely provide that now if that's helpful. I was given that by Noel at Evans on the Common of their parking lot. That's going to be roped off, and it has where the beverage area is and the food truck area is, and then the entire I believe parking lot is encapsulated in that. I don't know if that's something I can email to someone else or.
Absolutely. If you could resend that, but we can also vote on this and approve it contingent upon getting that map.
Okay.
That's fine too.
Sounds good.
Since the time is of the essence here. Anything else?
Did you mention tips training on the service?
There is, yeah, there is. I have tip
Because I didn't see
certificates.
this.
Anything else from you, Joe?
I went through it, I see it. Because everything, yeah.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion for a one-day special license for JK Management Unlimited LLC for an event at Evans on the Common on 9/16/2023 from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. contingent upon the serving area map.
Somewhere.
Second,
The motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Do you say once, yes?
Roshan, yes.
Aye. So we can aye. We're all in present, so we can
Decide.
eye it.
Aye. Aye.
So, okay, Kelsey, if you could send that in, and we'll go ahead and have the paperwork here with Sabrina so that, you know, you can pick that up at any time.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Let's jump down to, let's see, our next one is 6:45. So, let's jump down to 3.1. I'll entertain a motion to appoint Aaron Gill as an on-call firefighter to the fire department effective 8/22/23 to 6/30/2024.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, motion's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Right.
aye.
Aye. 3.4, appoint, 3.2, appoint Christopher Regan as per diem firefighter EMT advanced effective 8/22/23 to 6/30/2024.
So moved.
Second,
Motion's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
aye.
Aye. That was unanimous. 3.3, I'm very excited about this one. I will entertain a motion to appoint Charles Schultz as building commissioner / zoning enforcement officer / ADA coordinator to the building department effective 8/22/23 with a start date of 9/5/23.
So moved.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments on that?
yeah, I have one.
Go ahead.
So we're gonna appoint him today, but he's not starting until the 5th. Is he gonna be doing everything, or is our income still?
Our interim's still gonna be here for the
everything until then.
Correct.
Okay, perfect, just,
Yep.
so I understood, yeah.
Anything from you, Teresa?
Okay.
I think just with the qualifications and everything, I'm very excited to bring him on board. We definitely need some help.
Yeah, so Charles was the building commissioner in here, where he lives. He's fully certified, fully qualified, he's been a building commissioner for years, been in the trades for years. He came to the realization that being a building commissioner in the town you worked sometimes has a little bit of challenges to it. They also have, they have a much larger commercial area than we do. And so they have a 40-hour job. This was our building commissioner job, 30-hour-a-week job. And so despite the fact that it is a pay cut, he's excited about coming and working for the town.
Well, I like the fact that it is because he has an understanding of the commercial end of it. Number one. Number two is that we do need somebody that is going to be there for the treatment plant so that we have everything done and done the right way. So that's why I'm kind of excited that this got filled. I wish it was quicker, but I think that, things happen for a reason. And very well. So
yeah, we waited until we got a good qualified person. I was afraid we were going to have to go a different. I mean, we're going to have to be more creative than we ended up having to be. But I think we got lucky that we got somebody who seems to be a good fit.
I agree.
And what was the final outcome of the vehicle?
So he's going to get the stipend, not the vehicle. That came up before we had the vehicle actually looked at. But there's I have an update for the town.
Right, yeah.
But
Just
yes,
curious how it related to this. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
I checked that out too myself. Okay, so all those in favor?
Teresa motion.
Aye.
Mine's a Navy term.
So what would you want me to say?
We can say aye, that's fine.
you have to say it twice.
So a Revolutionary War.
Aye.
Aye, aye.
Aye is actually, the first guy is I will obey, and the second I understand what I'm obeying. So you're doing both.
Aye.
Which aye.
All righty, 3.4, I will entertain a motion to appoint Allison Weissany as Housing and Grant Administrator to the Land Use Department effective 8/22/2023 with a start date of 9/5/2023.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? Do we need to order a laptop?
I don't think so, because the staff that was in there got consolidated. So there had been 4 people, there's still only 4 people in there, so I believe that there is a computer. But I'll double check.
Okay. And then if you could, when you double check on that, let them know that we're doing wiring very shortly. So they're going to be, because I know that they've been asking, but it definitely is happening. It's not happening as quick as we can get it.
Sure.
All right. Conservation work too, they've asked.
Yeah.
So, that we're working on.
Yeah. The printer, I think, was the first major hurdle.
Yes.
They got the printer, so now we're working on the.
Awesome.
All right. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let's see. 3.5, appoint Michael Donahue as heavy equipment operator to the Highway Department effective 8/22/23 with a start date of 8/28/2023.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that?
How does that get, what do you need, some staffing, or is he still
Not quite.
not great?
Yeah, he still has something, but I just want to write, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to read what Jim had put. After posting and receiving 2 applications for the heavy equipment operator position in the Highway Department, the search was narrowed to 1 candidate. After reviewing his resume and conducting an in-person interview, it was my recommendation that Michael Donahue be hired as the heavy equipment operator.
So it does get closer to bringing it back to full state, just.
There's one more position if I remember correctly.
I think the truck driver position is still,
Yeah.
still out there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And I did say to notify the board, I said to Jim that he could use the second highway sign to post when he needed to for that position. So that he didn't have to keep on writing the request to put it in there, just so everybody knows that I give a general okay for him to do that.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3.6. These are reappointments. This is just to clean up the record, just so everybody knows we've already voted on these, but I want the motion to be correct so that we're in their terms are correct on the record. So I will look for a motion to reappoint Nancy French to the Townsend Cultural Council effective 8/22/2023 for a term to expire 6/30/2026.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I'll look for a motion to reappoint Francis Levy to the Townsend Cultural Council effective 8/22/2023 for a term to expire 6/30/2026.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that one? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So thank you, Nancy, and thank you, Francis. We've got that straightened out, so your terms are all set. I don't think I need to say anything more on that because Sabrina had the whole law written out for me. I said, I don't think we need to go into all of that, but I just wanted to make sure their terms are all set. Okay, 4.1, creation of the bylaw committee.
I was just wondering, since we do have any here from Townsend Rec, we will take 4.5 out of order.
Would I be willing? I'm always willing for that. Are you guys okay with that?
For Ames, yes.
So we will jump down to 4.5, Townsend Recreation and Equipment. I originally asked to have this, to put this on the agenda for a couple of reasons. Reason number one is that I've been very active with the Recreation Department since I've been a selectman. And it is my personal opinion that this department tends to get overlooked on a lot of things. There was an issue with, they have for their summer program, with a summer program, there's a lot of equipment, games, arts and crafts. There's a lot of stuff, supplies and a lot, glitter and, you know, all that wonderful stuff. You know.
Lots and lots.
Making pot holders and all of that stuff.
I worked for them for too long.
Is it? Okay. So we're aware of the amount of stuff. Their storage area is a shed that's out on Spalding Field, in the middle of the field. And in the field, there are field mice. When they went into inventory their stuff, it seems that the mice had decided that they were going to nest on all of the things, and it was a mess.
It was horrific.
It was quite a mess.
It was horrific. It was horrific.
It was. Thank you for the pictures. Not that I needed to see it. I trust you, but
we've had them on and off for years, but a little bit of cleanup has always managed it. And I think with the rain, especially this year, I think we got mice. I think we also got rats because of the damage that we saw. And it was horrifying. Really horrifying.
So the long and the short of it is that we had to, I told Emmy to do the best that she could to take things out. She couldn't leave things on the field because, you know, they're utilizing the field. We had to do some juggling on having people come pick it up, which I asked Roger from Parks and Cemetery to come pick up the things, bring it over here to our dumpster, and then negotiate with Shaw's to come over and get rid of it as quickly as they could, so we didn't have that mess in the backyard here. That's issue number one. We need to come up with something better than that. Issue number two is the invoices that were given to the director in regards to the space for the summer program, and I thought we had that all straightened out. So I just kind of like to throw it on the table and say I wanted to give Emmy an ability to say her piece, and for us to kind of problem solve to see if we can help out a department that really does, I think, a very valuable service to this town, and that's to help our kids. What we can do for our kids is really going to reflect on the future of Townsend, and I think that's really important as well. So throwing it out there.
Well, I think, first of all, I think the program is equitable to the town. I've talked to several people throughout days, what Emmy and that program does. A lot of parents are very thankful for it, kind of helps them in their life, knowing their children are safe. So it's an unfortunate thing that the mice get in, we're gonna find a better solution for that. But how are you going to pay, or what's your thoughts, or if there's some way we could do something in some kind of a fund to try to get her to go buy that stuff so she can continue the program, because I think it's important. And I just, one last thing, every time we have a meeting, I always hear Roger's name come into it. I just want to personally say thank you, Roger, because no matter what we talk about, you seem to bail somebody out. So thank you.
Not to mention the grill on the lawn party.
Well, we don't want to talk about the grill. There's some people missing.
I told you, I was grilling, I just wasn't grilling there. So just to quickly talk about the second part, I did send over the notice that we received, sending it to the school department. The way I kind of took it with her was, assuming this is an error,
Yeah, because that's not what
that doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing.
what we came up with, or how we
yeah.
went into it,
So I haven't heard back a response, and that was just yesterday, so, you know, just sent it out yesterday. But she sent it off to someone who she said handles that sort of thing. So I'm expecting that we'll get something back from the school department that says, oops, error, disregard. But we'll see.
We are
Pay
hoping.
that.
No, there's no way.
No way we should pay that.
Well, wasn't it, we did vote on the agreement.
Well, we voted to put it in the lease, which she
Right.
says yet unsigned.
Right, that's.
So, so the agreement for this year was $2,500.
Correct. That was, we went forward with
We
that.
went forward
The
just
emails back and forth with Brad.
Brad, yep,
We narrowed it down to exactly what it was, and it was gonna be the same as last year, with the exception of the rooms or whatever.
yeah.
But it's for $2,500, so that's what the expectation was, which is good, because,
I mean, maybe they just start only charging us $1,800 and that's it. I mean, I'd be happy with that, but
yeah,
I doubt that that's what it is.
No.
I don't think there's a.
yeah, because it's it was over $8,000 for stalling and $900 for
Yeah, it was $9,000
for
all of it.
5 days of offering.
Opening a bill and seeing a big amount,
Yeah.
especially when you had mice pooping all over your equipment,
Yeah.
was quite a blow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just felt that that's important, that
Yeah.
we make sure that we, A, get it on record, but B, I just want to let Emmy know that we support your department and what you do for the town, and I appreciate it personally, and I have had many conversations in regards to that.
How much do you think how much was the cost to replace the damage?
It's gonna be between $2,000 and $3,000.
I'm thinking about,
So
because there's
I have-
Tupperware and all that.
The concern was that in years past, again, it might be a couple of items or what have you, no big deal, we either throw them away, we can bleach if it's, whatever.
Sure.
But, they actually chew through like bins, like actual plastic bins, they actually chew through them.
That does
You know,
sound right.
and it was, it wasn't just like, okay, we can sweep this up, we can clean this up, like actual dead mice in there, in my things. Like, we can't, the health risk
Yeah, sanitation purposes.
it was beyond what we could manage. And it was a lot, like I said. I mean, the reason I think it's rats because they actually chew through plastic. Normally that's, you know, they'll get into they like the glue on a lot of the boxes, so we changed everything to bins, they Sterilite. We did, you know, put things up on platforms, but it was very aggressive. And between the bug infestation that we had to bomb twice for, and the mice / rats leftovers, the health risk was just too high. We had to throw a lot away, like a lot. And that's unfortunate because, again, we provide, the families that use our programs provide, and we take it very seriously being custodians of these items because it's hard won, right? Like these families, they're paying us for our service and we turn around and make these purchases so that this service is better for their families, right? Like it's a circle that we work in, and we take it very seriously being custodians of that practice. And it was devastating. It was a lot. And it was just, I was overwhelmed. I actually texted Chaz and I was like, can you just talk me down because I'm walking inside. Like I had it, like I'm out. It was just, it was
I wasn't
so
gonna
bad.
say that.
But well, that's
And
true.
I
was
didn't charge
like,
her for the counseling session.
no. But it was very overwhelming.
Teresa,
So,
So-
hang on.
So a couple of things, obviously, we have an immediate concern. So are we doing anything? Have we called in pest control or about the rat? So we just completely empty it out? But
No, it's got supplies in it.
Yeah.
it's
We have
so,
that,
so
yeah.
do we have? I mean, I think our first step is come up with a long-term solution is one thing, but we need to get pest control down there
Yep.
immediately. And I know other places we've had rats and they've done a really good job, and it's usually just one something.
Or the things on the outside. So my thought was we could ask our pest control people if they could put a couple of bait traps on the
Right, those
outside.
big white traps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. For now, maybe
So,
a temporary fix to the problem.
and so the unfortunate complication about this is under the existing lease with the school, that is theirs, their land, and the kids are out there. And
Well, those
so
are kids safe.
I just think we have to be very, anything we do, we're gonna have to do, I mean, we need to do in concert with the
And
school.
then my second thing was also, would this be covered under the school's insurance, being on school property? And we go to the school and say, we'd like you to make a claim for $5,000 for the loss.
I mean, I have absolutely no idea, I mean,
I think if we start
So,
going to the insurance company
Yeah.
from the school,
That
putting
being-
up the can for us, that we don't want to go down.
that being said, I would say this, the Board of Selectmen voted to add an extra $10,000 to the FinCom's reserve fund. This feels like an emergency, an unforeseen emergency. The whole reason that we gave them more money was so that they didn't feel like they needed to hold on to all that money till the very end of the year. I know it's early in the year, but you know, this is an unfunded kind of emergency. So
Right, but at this point, like, so all the bins that we do have in there, we actually duct taped, like completely sealed all the way around them. Everything's duct taped, everything is, you know, I've got stuff hanging in there now from the rafters, but it's not out. We actually took the pool table, ping pong table that was in there and put it down on the ground flat to use as like a lift. So I don't want to purchase anything at this point because I don't have anywhere to put it.
Yeah,
Like at this point, I don't have any place to put new floor hockey sticks or a new foosball table. I don't have space for it. You know, my building is filled with the day-to-day supplies that we use throughout the year. And those bigger items that we take out for the summer or April and February vacation, I don't have any space for them, and I don't want to put good money after bad, right? Like
Right.
where we're at. And again, we did everything that we could, double bagging and sealing and duct taping and plastic and thinning and, you know, shelving. But I don't, oh, and we also foamed every crack that we could see.
Yeah, I
It's
think.
like both inside, every
your
crack.
mind is way through
But-
that.
right,
You gotta get,
It's out in the field.
at least you might not want to spend money on new stuff, and I completely understand that. But my thing is, if we have insurance, we should, or the school has it, we should consider it a society thing too. Like you said, we have funds to immediately do something with the rats, I think we should do.
Yeah, so I mean, we already have a pest control company. We're under contract, but not for that facility. We can obviously talk to this, again, the school starts on Monday, so it's not something we can get done before school starts. We can talk to pest control company and ask what they, you know, is there a child safe, you know, pest control method for that
Again,
particular
it's like it's
structure.
So is it just in a regular, just wooden frame, like, is it that one right at the end?
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
shed.
And
Yeah,
so that's,
shed.
it's just a shed, and that's the thing, it's, you know, it's good for what it's good for. But I'm at the same, whatever we can do early to hold things off, because once the colder weather, I mean, it's buried in snow anyway. But it's not sealed, I mean, it's a shed. So the doors don't completely close, you know, like I said, we foamed everything we possibly could, but, you know, it's got the outside vents for the venting at the top, it's got the water pipes are in there, like, there's only so much that we can do with an open shed on a field that is going to have animals. Like, it's gonna, I mean, we live in the country, that's just to be expected,
Is that stuff there because it's easy accessible to when you're there, or
but
that
it's
just?
there because that's all we have,
That's all they have.
that's all we have.
In
It was even
spots.
worse when we used to have
A trailer.
the trailer at the high, that was even worse. That
It
was,
was a trailer in the back of the high school that had everything, right?
it was actually behind highway,
Okay.
in highway, and that was,
Another in the field, and that's what I'm saying is
that had
that
squirrels.
I just feel that we can do better than that. So as a liaison to that, I would like to be able to maybe do some research and look to see what we have for a facility to so that they can store things better, number one, and number two, more peace of mind, because every spring I know that Emmy goes out to look at it after the thaw, and it's just a mess. And you know, I don't think a town employee needs to bomb and to get rid of mice and that kind of stuff.
What kind of square footage? How big is
What
it?
is it now? What I have now? It's like,
I think it's a 10 by
I
12.
was gonna say 12 by 10, I think. I think that's,
What's yours?
yeah, it's not huge.
It's not.
We put again, whatever's big, we put the nets in there, we put, all of the, you know, we have way more balls than I can put in the rec center. We don't use that many, you know, basketballs and whatever. So there's bins of those, and of course they're big because I'm around, you know. And the foosball table and the air hockey tables were in there, you know, hula hoops, like the big things go in there. Basically, mostly everything that we use in the gym, or I would say probably 85% of what we use for gym class goes in there. And we keep a very minimum amount at the rec center to play in the field. But it's primarily all things for the gym.
If it was off-site, if it wasn't at Spalding, would that be feasible?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's, I mean, we were at Swanica for a couple of 3 years or so. That's irrelevant because again, thank you so much, Roger, at Cemetery Parks. They're super helpful in getting us moved. And they were fantastic again this year, came to the rescue a couple of times with getting things moved around. So location, we're used to moving and hauling from wherever it happens to be.
What if Chaz suggestion? With assignments, liaison assignments, we talk to your people, Teresa, anyone that has a building, maybe we talk to them, see if we can find some room in some of these buildings, fire stations, highway, park, cemeteries, see what we can come up with, just, you know, amongst us, we'll start asking, maybe somebody be gracious enough to say, yeah, we got an area we can put that stuff.
I feel like for that amount of space, we ought to be able to find it. I mean, the reality is it needs to be in a building that's used more than
Well, gotta be.
a shed is used, so that you can see if something bad happened, right? Like, you don't want to stuff it in a place where nobody looks at it for 6 months, because that's obviously.
So I'd be happy to talk with the fire department, you know, police department, see if, you know, we just need a story. You know, maybe one of them will give us some.
I think
That's
so
what you
too.
wanna
And we
do.
can talk to town properties too, if they have any ideas on what we have, but I just want to make sure that we're taking care of a department that doesn't have a shed in the field.
So let's get it done.
Any of our properties that we're looking, like in the historical district, are maybe eligible to put storage in now, or we're waiting to renovate?
I was
them?
thinking of the old central fire station.
That's what I'm thinking. I think in the library, but I don't think you can put anything in there because of the mold.
Yeah, we
Like
have
that.
something there.
I think in the fire
Yeah.
station,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know any. I haven't been in the fire station.
So I'll talk to public safety end of it, you talk to yours, Teresa, or you, and just let's put it out there and get something, whoever. I find something, you find something, reach out to Eric, say, Eric, this is what we found. He can reach out to Emmy and just deal with it.
Yeah, I'll see.
I'm
what we can
grateful,
come up with some-
honestly, for any solution. I really am. I'm truly grateful for it, and I appreciate the attention to it.
And if we can find something
You
there,
can't replace things like that because you don't have the wherewithal. It is devastating. And it was,
Well, and it's the
Awful.
fact that you have enough planning on your plate so that you've already planned for this, and then she went to go to take the things out because they're gonna be doing it the following week, and nothing is usable.
I think we should go to whatever we gotta do. Once you find a secure spot for that to go in, authorize transfer $3,000, let her get it, because she's gonna need, the kids are gonna be back at it again. I just think let's just move forward with it. I don't know if we need a vote or what we need to do.
Well, if we decide to go for the reserve fund transfer, the board is like.
Yeah, we just put in a request to the finance committee.
So we need a vote,
No.
you all in favor?
2 thumbs up for me.
Yeah, so I can work with Emmy to try to figure out a way to quantify the replacement cost, because that's.
We have
Right.
a list of everything we threw away. Like I do have a list of what we threw away, and some of it hadn't even been opened yet. It was brand new for the summer.
Oh.
Like brand new. Thought it was still like in the plastic packaging and the box, and brand hadn't even been opened yet. So I'll just go back to SNS Worldwide and take a look at how much I paid for it right before the summer.
But I think that's the way. I mean, we've got an unforeseen emergency like this one, yes. So that's something that there's clearly no money to do. That's where we should go first.
I'm good for it.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, and then we'll follow up with the school invoices, and I'll let you know
Keep you posted.
when that
Perfect.
happens. If
Okay,
there's anything else you need, just let me know.
I will. That's true.
Thanks, Emmy. Keep up the good job.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it again.
Good
I'll
luck.
talk to y'all later.
My job is dealing with people in crisis.
So true.
Spare time.
Yeah, right? All right. Right, we got a couple of minutes.
And I think 4.2 would be very quick.
Okay, so 4.2 is review and approve vote for a special town meeting solar canopies. That's all you.
Yeah, so this is something we brought up for the last board of selectmen meeting, which was that the solar canopy company would like us to schedule a special town meeting sometime in September, so that they can get a jump on getting their approvals and getting the installation of solar canopies that they're proposing at the police station and at senior center library. I talked with the town clerk. It looks like September 29th would be a realistic date. That's a Friday. September 29th is a Tuesday. As I said, September 26th.
Try that again, Eric?
September 26th.
Often wrong, but never in doubt.
There we go. There we go.
Just wanted to clarify that.
So what I would suggest to the board is that we set a schedule that would be both opening and closing the special town on the 5th of September. They'll give us 2 weeks to come up with that warrant, like we're already working on the solar canopy company with, plus any other warrant additions that we will take the time to work and take
There's
that.
probably a
Couple
couple
of
that
things that
we could.
I know that there's just a couple of procedural ones that I think we should do, just get them off the bat. And then we would put up notices on the, September 11th, on the 11th for, that would be sufficient notice for the 26th.
Okay, so I also want to do, like we did, a preliminary going through what we're gonna go through, if we can do that.
Yeah. So we can do that on the 19th. We already have our second meeting on the 19th.
Yeah.
So it should be one week before the special town meeting.
That works for me.
Works for me.
So,
Does that work for you?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, so it'll just be a motion to set a schedule town meeting, special town meeting for the 26th, then open close the warrant.
So,
So move.
Can we move it from what he said to we represent?
yeah, mhm.
Okay, so moved.
It can be moved and it's seconded.
Yay.
Yeah. Seconded.
Second.
There you go. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So if we could have Harrison put something right up on the website as soon as possible, that we voted on that, so that we can notify the public.
And what were the dates? Like, we were gonna keep us September 5th, and that's where we do, or we're gonna add one?
September 5th is where we're gonna open and close the warrant,
Okay,
and on the 26th will be the actual special town meeting.
so we're not having a meeting other than that.
Other than
special
the
town
26th.
Yeah, we put that down now.
Okay.
You've been on vacation
I don't know, too long.
So it's almost here. Is
minutes to go.
Sue Poland, is she here? Is she on?
Is there a Sue Poland on Zoom?
I don't really see anybody.
There we go.
Hi, Sabrina.
I apologize, I'm gonna turn on the AC if that's okay with you.
Oh, that's
All right.
Careful, that leak's on you over there.
Oh, yeah. I should have
I
never.
directed it for that scene.
Oh, I know better. There.
So yeah, it's almost 6:45. I think we're good.
I think we're, yeah.
So 2.2 is review and approve review and approve the common victular license change for formerly known as Yum To Go, doing business as Bullion Bistro, to Bullion Bistro LLC, sole owner Sue Poulin. Is Sue on there? Let's see.
Could be the Sampson. Sampson?
Nope. Nobody has that. Thank God. So.
Well, as the board may or may not know, they have been operating out of Cherry Hill 2 building, and they have very delicious soups. It's right across the street from me.
It's the chocolate.
There,
I don't see
there.
that.
Yeah, it is. I agree. Every morning, the dog likes to walk by to see if there's anything left on the ground over there. But it looks like, I know that there were 2 individuals, and I guess that it's going to a sole owner, and the name changes to the sole owner, Bullion Bistro LLC. We have looked at all the paperwork, and they have submitted everything that they needed to. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the common victular license change for formerly known as Yum To Go, doing business as Bullion Bistro to Bullion Bistro LLC, sole owner Sue Bullion.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion on that?
So this license is just beer and wine?
This is a liquor.
No,
This
it's
is
not
just
like,
a
it's just, yeah, it's just to operate a business out of there.
Okay, I thought it included beer and wine too. Okay, thank you.
Right? All those in favor?
I,
Aye. Thank you very much, Sue. You're all set. And we have to sign these. We'll sign these afterwards. That's okay with you guys.
Yep.
Run away.
Now we gotta wait 7:15.
Oh, we can,
Keep
the other
going.
things.
Other things.
Well, we can go through this, Jazz. You got it.
All right, so go ahead. No question? 4.1 is the creation of the bylaw committee. As
Close.
Wrong check.
you guys testing me?
yeah, that's what it is. It's just a test. You're doing well.
Just gotta stay on your toes, Jazz.
I'm right there. Okay, so we have interested parties and I'm hoping you guys will take your SharePoint for the interested individuals. There's only one, and I'll get to that in a minute, that decided that they were not interested anymore. So we have Beth Faxon, we have Veronica Cal, we have Alice Struthers, Greg Smith, Bill Cadigan, Natalie Call, Robert Therian, and Maureen Delbeck. Those are the ones that are still interested in it. Excuse me, do we have, there's no set limit for a committee, right? We can pick for how many.
The bylaw committee and the charter doesn't have any kind of guidance.
There's no, so
Charter does it, but,
Personal.
About the number of people in the bylaw committee?
yeah, and how it's broken, how it's made up. Yeah, nine is the number on the charter, and we kept it, I believe, the same when we did the review.
I was gonna say, I thought there was two, I could just think large committees have more trouble getting things done than smaller.
But it's sometimes easier to get a core.
so we show 8 interested.
But that wouldn't, would we be including a selectman or a town administrator to it? So would that be a thing? Yeah, they would just be a liaison to it. What's your thoughts on that?
Want that committee?
I'm just asking. No, I'm asking. Sure. Yeah, I could be the liaison to it, but is that your thought? Would they be a nice member?
That's what, I mean. And John, you said that 9 is in the charter.
It's for the charter review committee, it's 9.
It is for that. And we have 8.
So we're one short, John.
Yeah, you still want choice.
It's like how I tried that, huh?
So would a liaison is really not a
Right, not
ex
voting
officio,
member, so
yeah.
that's why I'm asking. So you would see it as a liaison position, you wouldn't put, there's a lot of committees, like the master planning has a voting member on it, right? That's not, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
I saw just curious how do you see it?
Well, here's my thought.
Yeah, so I apologize, I just want to be clear. So the charter review committee has a reform.
Yeah.
The bylaw review committee does not.
Oh,
It's a separate committee.
And I don't think we put a number in when we submitted the review.
So it's always good to have odd numbers, but but for purposes of there's not a numerical requirement by the public.
so my thought is if we can appoint 8 and then say that if they need one more person, they can, that there is one vacancy so that they can have 9 on there.
I think that makes sense. Or if you want to say that the town administrator is going to be a member of that bylaw review committee, just kind of by virtue of the town administrator's position.
That's another one too, if you don't mind doing that
You know,
with your expertise.
Yeah, I
certainly
think,
wouldn't be a problem.
yeah, I
Dylan,
think
that
they don't
means
do
right.
it.
So, guys, I gotta get this out. So we're gonna put you on that committee, but you gotta make sure you're there like you did for cooking the burgers.
Wow.
You ain't gonna live that one down, you know that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no, I'll be on the committee.
Still all the way over here.
The committee in spirit.
Joe refused to wear an apron too. I saw.
I saw, I
wear-
think
Wore gloves.
that might have been a violation of something, but no apron.
There was nobody there told me so.
Did you have a hairnet?
Oh, I don't have no hair to worry about.
So as far as setting up the committee, do we have to set up parameters? I don't think we need to, right? The
No, I mean-
parameters are they can decide amongst themselves how they want to be able to do it, what they want to be able to do. We're just appointing the members, correct?
Correct.
So,
And the idea is, and I'm, if you don't, if so gives you, I just read just directly from the charter.
sure.
It says, each year ending in a 3 or an 8, cause to be prepared a special committee appointed for that purpose, proposed revision or recodification of all bylaws of the town, which shall be presented to the town meeting for reenactment at the annual town meeting of the year following the year, which is right. So the goal would be, we appoint people now, by May, they've come up with revisions or changes that they think are appropriate for the bylaws.
And then we put that in the town meeting at that time.
And all of those have to be voted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's committee in its final or an interim report shall include recommendations for each substantive change to the bylaws. It shall be in conjunction with town council. And then obviously the changes that before the general's office to make sure they're there. So the idea would be, my expectation would be, you'd have a committee that would set up a certain number of meetings. They would have periodic meetings with town council. When they have, changes that they believe are appropriate or changes they'd like to have made and drafted. The town council can assist with the drafting of those changes if necessary. And then they present a package. Probably I would suggest, before the 1st of April, or before the 1st of April to the Board of Selectmen to be included in the.
Okay. So then I think we can appoint these and then maybe that draft outline for them saying this is what your timeline is and then we'll let it go.
Yep.
I'm good with that.
All right.
Appreciate it. Joe is all right. So I make a motion that we create a bylaw committee consisting of members of Beth Paxson, Veronica Kell, Alice Struthers, Greg Smith, Bill Cadigan, Natalie Call, Robert Therian, Maureen Galby, and Eric Slagle.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion, quick, so we can take a vote before Eric changes his mind?
Nope.
We're good? All right, all those in favor?
I,
Aye. The bylaw committee is formed. All right. 4.3, review proposal for 97 Main Street auction.
So, Mr. Chair, I might, when we discussed the proposed auction for the property at 97 Main Street, I reached out to town council to get suggestion of auctioneers that town council work with, or their client towns work with and they're happy with. I got 3 names, reached out to those 3 entities. One of them I didn't get a response from, but these 2 did provide proposals. Again, these are ones that they've obviously worked in municipal work in the past. The main difference between these 2 proposals, and there are several minor differences, but the main difference is the proposed buyer's premium for each of these proposals. The Strategic Auction Alliance proposed 10% buyer's premium to cover their costs. Sullivan & Sullivan proposed 4% buyer's premium costs. They also, you know, in addition, the proposal from Sullivan seemed to have a more detailed and robust outreach plan that I was impressed with. But I think that the difference in buyer's premiums, the costs alone is going to significantly impact what the town's going to get. You know, instead of having to pay, you know, an extra $10 for every $100 you bid, you're only going to have to pay an extra $4 for every $100 you bid. You're going to know that. You might bid.
The outreach is really,
The outreach, I think, is going to be crucial.
yeah, I agree.
So I think that I don't think we'd be disappointed with either one. They both seem like they had a
Time frame for either one of them?
I think they wanted to make sure they had sufficient time to do outreach, and so we'd be looking for sometime in September, but as soon as possible. You know, I don't want to sit on it. I also want to, if they say we need a month to do outreach, I want to say, yeah, good. We'll give you a month to do
The
outreach.
outreach is important.
I'd rather defer to their expertise on the amount of outreach that we need, but that's how much time. You tell me it's a month of outreach, a month of the day, I want us to have that.
I think for the 4%, it's no brainer. I mean, it's every penny we can put in our pocket.
Yeah.
That's what I think, so.
I agree.
So I move that we choose Sullivan and Sullivan for the auctioneer for 97 Main Street.
And authorize the town administrator to sign that.
And authorize the town minister to administer the proposal.
Second?
Some discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I told you, said I
I know you.
So moved, maybe I'm hearing things wrong.
Yeah, you got me on that one, so. It's supposed to be so moved, I'd second, move
I
on.
thought I heard you.
All right. Well, excellent.
Okay, so I'll reach out to them first thing in the morning, and I will actually let the members of the board know the date they tell me. Okay, so
Good. All right. Thank you. I like when we start checking off things on our bucket list. 4.4, discuss lawn mowing at the fire stations. Joe, you asked me about this.
Yes, I did. So, I don't know just how involved we can get, Eric, in regards to this. I've been notified by many people and very concerned of what some of these town properties are looking like, grass growing, not trimmed, just nobody seems to know who's responsible for what. And I guess that's where I think we as a board can try to figure that out. Who's responsible for the highway, the Harbor Fire Station, the Center Fire Station, the old fire station, the West Township, Town Hall, the old Hot Library. I mean, I just came back into town today, and, you know, this lawn is mowed, but Hot Library is not mowed. Grass clippings are all on all the walkings, nothing blown off, no weed whacking around the building. So for me, to have people that concerned that some of our properties in town aren't really being maintained, I feel for them, and I think we need to get to the bottom of this and figure out who's doing what.
Mhm.
So how do we do that?
I do know, so the agreement predates my being on the board, the agreement with the Parks and Cemeteries Department as to the Parks and Cemeteries, I think, or a portion of the mowing of town properties. Right? The fire stations are on the Parks and Cemeteries list. That's to my knowledge, for responsibility for mowing Parks and Cemeteries. I apologize. I'm trying to check my email. I know that got have a
So mowing, would that be under the maintenance side of things too? or that's gotta be something totally separate?
No, there's a specific agreement that the Board of Selectmen had made a request to the cemeteries and parks for them to take over the mowing. They were canceled the
Contract.
the contract. There was a contract up through the end of FY 2022 for the landscape.
That was a $24,000 contract.
I remember that.
And so that contract was canceled. They had the responsibility for doing the mowing. And as part of that, part of the Board of Selectmen made a request to the Board of Cemetery and Parks that they take over doing for a certain number of.
Roger's on. Hey, Roger,
There's Roger. The town building. So
hang on, Roger, for a second. We're trying to figure out, back a while ago, when we got rid of the maintenance of the lawn care in town hall and stuff. Do you recall the agreement that you signed in?
I did have I have a copy of it right here. I
Okay.
apologize. I have a copy of that letter to the Parks and Cemeteries Board sent over to Board of Selectmen, Roger, for that, from 2022.
All right, do you want to read it or you want me to chime in?
No, let me just read it and then we can.
Okay.
chime in. The Cemetery and Parks Department were responsible for the following: mowing and weed whacking fire stations, mowing and weed whacking police station, senior center and library, mow the field between the library, senior center and the Squanicook School, mow and weed whack the West Townsend Reading Room. Cemetery and Parks will add these grounds, keeping to our tasks in weekly rotation. Will not be responsible for mowing or weed whacking or fall clean of town hall, the old library, or the field by town hall, weeding the flower beds, or edging mulching. So that was the agreement that was entered into, again, that predates.
So then, facilities is to do town hall, the field out here, art library. Yes, okay.
What about the little rec building?
The rec building is on it's not on town lane. It's on. Oh, you mean the
The
rec
one
building?
right here. this-
Oh, I
yeah.
thought you were talking about the shed.
No, the rec building right here.
Yeah, but that's considered the town hall, part of the town hall. So
Okay.
around the rec building.
Because I've seen it mowed here, but not mowed there. I've seen times, town hall's been mowed, that hasn't been mowed.
I do know that it's because of the weather, and Roger and I talked about it, and Rob and I talked about it, the weather this summer has been kind of whack. And so, the grass is growing at extreme rates because of the amount of rain. And so there was, couldn't keep up with the grass. And it's not, it's all over town. It's not just town buildings, I suppose. But, I agree with you that we need to make sure that we're doing our best.
So can we come up with, I need a specific for who's doing what. I think that's what the question is. And I think somehow we need to say they're responsible for these and this person is responsible for this. And I also would like to see a time frame on each one of them that they're supposed to mow them. I don't know, weekly, bi-weekly, whatever. It just needs to be. And I'm only concerned about, I feel, and Roger, if I speak out of turn, then I apologize, but I don't apologize. Roger sticks his neck out all the time for doing a lot of extra stuff. And he's got the cemetery, he's got all of these public buildings that he's doing. Plus, he's also has projects to expand the cemetery that he needs to focus with the guys that he has to work. And the guys that he does have work actually helped out and volunteered, so we know them personally, that are doing a great job, as far as that's concerned. So I don't like, well, that's this person, that's that person's job. I'd like to have it squared away, number one, so that Roger knows what he's responsible for and facilities knows what they're responsible for, and then we can, if we need to make some changes to that, we would. The second thing I would like to see is a job description for facilities in regards to all of the duties that are responsible, in regards to what they're responsible for. Because I've looked on several different occasions and I cannot find a job.
I have the job description on my computer right now.
I would like to see that.
Sure.
Because there's nothing that's I went through, when we went through Colin's report, when we were going through all of that with everybody's job description, I have everybody's job description except for that one.
So I don't know what's been agreed on and what's not been agreed on.
Yeah, no, the one I found is the historic one. It's the one that's from 2012.
2012. And then the next question is that, does that need to be updated?
Sure.
That's what I'd like to see. I don't like the back and forth about what's going on. This is what this one's responsible for and that one's responsible for, because I don't want either parties doing extra work and not getting the credit for it.
Sure, right.
Roger, I want to put you on the spot here, but, what was your take of what Eric has just said as far as your responsibility? You on board with what we just said?
Yeah, and if I can kind of clarify things, we had never done the Harbor Fire Station in the past. And Gary Shepherd discussed that with me a couple of weeks ago, and we immediately went down and we mowed it up and got it cleaned up down there. Drew had told me that, a few years back we had done it, but I just didn't remember doing it. So that one fell through the cracks. But as far as the fire stations go, the old center station and the complex, that's ours. Yeah, I have no issue with that. We got all the trees pruned over in the complex today, and of course that exposed a lot of weeds, so Rob's going to have to get some organic sprayer on that in those beds. We got all the trees pulled up and trimmed back so the dumpsters can go back where they belong, and the mowing's a lot easier now. And so, yeah, I'm on board with that. And my apologies for slipping on the harbor station, because that did fall under us.
I mean, I just want to say, just for the record, Roger's done a great job, and he always steps up whenever there's a question, including helping out every other department who needs it. So I know that.
But I want to be fair to Roger.
Sure.
So we're not just all of a sudden saying, okay, Roger, you get all this extra. That's why I'm asking that question, pinpointing, I guess, Roger. The way I just understood what we said is, you've got the senior center, the library, you've got the three fires, four, actually with the old center fire station.
Yeah.
And
Police station, reading room.
reading room.
Yeah.
And that's what we discussed, right?
I think that covers all the properties. And if it helps, so people realize that Monday is the day that's dedicated to the complexes and to the fire stations, and it usually drops over into Tuesday. We didn't get there yesterday because we had to get Hillside cleaned up, but we did the complex today, and the fire stations, there's 2 fire stations left to go, which we're going to do in the morning. But usually Monday or Tuesday, the days that we dedicate to the complex and the fire stations.
Roger, I appreciate everything that you do for the town. This has nothing to do other than we just want to make sure that who's doing what. I also want to thank the facilities department for doing what they do here too, because we do appreciate their work as well. So
Sure, absolutely.
We just want to make sure that we have that all straightened out.
Yeah, like I say, the harbor station was my just my drop. I dropped it and didn't do it, and Gary and I talked about it. It's all set.
Okay.
We'll give you a free pass this time.
Thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Roger.
All right, you guys have a great night.
You too. Well, he helped me on Sunday bring this upstairs because I couldn't carry it myself.
It's always around, no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
You always find him doing something.
He took on the whole bandstand project. Huge. Huge project.
Tugs that trailer over there every week. I mean, really, think about that. That's above and beyond the call of an employee.
All right, we have. Yeah, is that gonna be a big one?
Country.
Maybe we could do 4.7. The mandatory.
Yeah, we could do that.
Probably done in 5 minutes or.
All right, so we'll do 4.7, mandatory referral to planning board on 66 Bayberryville Road. I know that there has been some some work up there. I did get a couple of phone calls in regards to some of the deforesting that was happening there, which opened up a lot of water coming down the hill. I actually asked Highway if Jimmy could go up there and take a peek at what's going on, because from what it was described to me, there was an excessive amount of water coming onto that hill. I was more concerned about I don't know what the proper terms are, but the sides of the road being eroded, and pieces of the road, chunks of the side of the road being knocked down. He went there, they cleared out some of the drains. They also lifted the drains and put rocks under them so the water could go down as quickly as they can. So I then in turn talked to the land use, our new land use coordinator, and asked about what was the work going on here. And then I saw the stormwater management plan that was in here. Because I was on planning board, I knew what I was looking for, and it has everything that I was kind of hoping for as far as their stormwater management was concerned. That to me has been always a very wet area, and the roads there have always been, I mean, even in the wintertime, there's water coming off of that hill. It's just, yeah,
It's challenging topography.
absolutely. And I think there's some kind of natural spring or whatever. I'm sure if there wasn't, it could be a geyser, because there's sometimes in the winter that there's a lot of water that comes off of that, which is surprising. So I guess that was a long-winded way of saying that I was pretty satisfied with the plan that they had come up with. I'll be too ahead.
Yeah, no, I just looked at it.
You say you have any comments on that? Okay. So what would you like me to add on this for a referral comment? We can do a no comment or do what?
I have to respect the opinion of the planning board to proceed in the best interest of the town.
The select board respect. Respect the work.
Well, yes, it's a look at the planning board.
The select board respect the work of the planning board, that the planning board does, and to proceed in the best interest of the town. Okay. We could do, yeah, we could do.
Probably can.
4.8 is surplus requests for the TPX phones. Those are the telephones that replace the, these new phones replaced. We have the Office of the Board of Selectmen is requesting to surplus town-owned TPX phones as listed below and attached. The value is approximately $10 to $25 per phone. Now, did we decide what we're going to do with those, or let's either try to sell in bulk, all in one?
I think for ease of getting rid of them, that might be the best.
Do
best way to do it.
Do we have to sell them?
But we have no use for them.
No, I know that there's a charity that just gives out phones to battered women.
It's the
These are
phones
desk
that you
phones.
need to have.
Oh.
It's only good for like business use.
Okay.
Those sort of phones. Also, I don't think we actually can give away town property. That's
Okay. That's what I know.
Yeah, just put it as a lump sum, just buy it all.
And I think that's the easiest way to do it.
Buy one.
But then, how many are there?
How many do we have? 57.3?
That many.
that many.
Yeah, so, and I know it was still.
It's definitely under this.
So if we don't, excuse me, if we don't have any bidders, then just dispose of them as we see fit.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to surplus town-owned PTX phones with approximate value of $10 to $25 per phone. Second, any more further discussion? Favor? Aye. And surplus the request of the Lexmark printer. That is a boat anchor. Plain and simple. It's,
Yeah, it is a doorstop.
It's too big for the doorstop, takes the whole door.
Yes.
you know, it was actually, the last time it was working, it was groaning.
That's the one in the,
So that is
Andrew's up.
zero value.
Yes, it does.
$0.
So, yeah,
disposal.
Yeah.
yes. So I make a motion that we surplus the Lexmark printer that wasn't on Andrew's.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? We can find a proper burial for it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Okay, 7:15, and this is for Artisan Chef Catering LLC. Is anybody on the phone with Artisan?
Hi, yes, I'm here. My
Hi
name is
there.
Courtney. Hi.
Is Allison?
No, my name is Courtney.
Okay.
Allison is unavailable this week.
All right, so this is a one-day special license for Artisan Chef Catering LLC for an event on 8/26/2023.
Correct.
This is a private post-wedding reception, excuse me, for approximately 50 people.
Mhm.
The questions that I have, well, we have a TIPS certification. We have a caterer's license. They also have a transportation and delivery permit. I was wondering, is this going to be indoors or outdoors, or what's the what's the venue
This
look like?
this is outdoors. It's in the client's backyard. So there's a house, there's a pool, and then he has two 20 by 20 tents where that's where the bar will be placed underneath the tents outside.
And as far as the guests are concerned, I mean, what's the control on the drinking and that kind of stuff?
Well, as far as guests in control, so we do card people who are underage or who look underage. Anyone that looks under the age of 30, we do card them. And there is a policy where we never do service more than 5 hours. This one is just 3 hours. And we usually have a 4-drink minimum. And then also just being a tip certified bartender, we've been educated on the signs of people who are intoxicated, also people who would possibly be getting drinks for other people who are underage. So those are the precautions that we take under the tip certification.
Okay, and then the area that they're talking about when they do get the beverage, is it a contained area? Is it, I mean, they're not going to be roaming around like all around the house and that kind of stuff is my question.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I misunderstood the question. Yes, it's within a tented area in a fenced backyard.
Okay.
So, yeah, in a fenced backyard. They are allowed to go inside the house. I believe they're going inside the house to use the facilities, but that's it.
Yeah, as long as the area itself is contained, I wanted to make sure.
Oh, yes, sir.
I think we need the condition on there that says that they have to stay. It can't be out on the public street. It's certainly not.
Okay.
Just said that's gonna be within a fenced area.
Yes, in the backyard of a house.
So just,
Do you want that condition?
Yeah.
Okay.
because they can spell out to the front and things it up there whenever it comes out front.
On 28 Edward Road, I don't know
Yeah.
how,
And the other, I'm sure it was a mistake, but you said there was a minimum drink, or did you mean maximum?
Oh, yeah, correct. I'm sorry. Maximum. Thank you. That was a mistake. Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah. That would be a strange request. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
anything else from anybody? But do you want to add that they
I
need to?
prefer it to be there, because if there's any type of trouble and it goes up in the street, then we have that people have on. It's like, wait a minute, you can't even be out of the street.
Who's gonna police that?
That would be the caterer. To,
We can.
did you hear that, Courtney, what we were talking about?
Just that they have to stay in the backyard. It can't go out into the street. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Okay. Yeah. I understand.
Going into the house is okay, but if the pool, if your tent is out by the pool, they should stay in that area, and it shouldn't spill out into the front of the house to the street.
Okay. We can monitor that. Absolutely.
All right.
Thank
All right, so I will entertain a motion for a one-day special license for Artisan Chef Catering LLC for an event on 8/26/2023 between the hours of 1 p.m. and 4 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? No. All those in favor?
Right?
Aye. Okay, Courtney, you're all set. We'll sign that that license tonight, and then you can pick it up at the selectman's office here.
Picked up the selectmen. Okay. Beautiful. I will. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Courtney. Have a good day.
Okay. Bye.
You gotta let
720, discuss amendment of the water treatment plant trust document. I've also invited Todd up here. Todd, if you want to come up. Join us up there. So who would like to start?
Did I see Adam on earlier?
Adam was on.
Yeah, Adam's right there.
There he is. So I guess I will. The trust is the organization that controls the state revolving fund. And there's two of them. There's clean water and safe water. Any of the loans that go out on that, they set the terms of. We took an SRF loan for PFAS under the Safe Water Drinking Fund. Anyone that had taken one out recently got an amendment. Basically, the way I interpreted it was that if you signed the amendment, you were signing your rights away to any sort of litigation funds because you took the SRF loan. Adam can speak to whether I read that right or not, but I know a bunch of water departments have flagged it or water districts, water departments, as a topic of concern and have taken it up with the Clean Water Trust itself. I don't know if it's been resolved or anything like that. They're willing to talk, but it was kind of ambiguous as well. I mean, it talked about water quality. Well, water quality can mean anything from iron and manganese, bacteria to PFAS. So I don't, if I read it right, Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, it would be worth having a conversation with Clean Water Trust saying, what do you mean? What do you mean by water quality? Does that mean any loan that if there's a lawsuit, the state is entitled to it or the trust is entitled to it? Or is that what it means? So I'll let Adam or Chaz take up from there.
I would entertain Adam's comment on this.
Thank you, Chaz and Todd. So I don't read it entirely inconsistent with what Todd just represented, but maybe a bit differently. So So we reviewed the financing agreement amendment, and what it seems to do is recognize that the town may have available to it various funds, including as a consequence of settlement of litigation, settlement monies, monies resulting from ensuing judgments, whatever the source of those monies may be. And the concern that the state has is that that the town may default on its obligations to the state, and yet have these monies available to it that it is either choosing not to use for these projects or for repayment of its debt and its obligations, or that it may not pursue the monies that are available to it. And so the way that we describe this in our feedback initially to Eric, although I've since also spoken with Chaz, not spoken directly with you, Todd, but it gives the state greater rights to subrogate the town in future lawsuits, and also in its capacity, in the state's capacity as a financial lender, effectively gives it the ability to pursue funds in the name of the town if the town is not choosing to pursue those funds on its own. So in terms of my level of comfort with the amendment, I wouldn't say that, you know, I'm terribly uncomfortable with it, or that I think it means necessarily that the town is forfeiting anything to which it is entitled, but it certainly gives the state greater rights than it had under the original financing agreement, which of course is why the proposal is to amend the original agreement. My conversations with Chaz, and I don't want to get too far ahead, and Chaz, you can speak to this, and I suspect we'll speak to this as well, but my conversations with Chaz have been on the fact that Townsend is not the only community that has received this request, this proposed amendment. Other communities are having the same concerns. Internal discussions are equally as hesitant to enter into the agreement or the amendment, because they're concerned about what it may mean. And I don't know what advice they're getting from their counsel, but I suspect it's similar to the advice that we're giving, because there has been this dialogue between communities or representatives of communities concerning whether these amendments should be signed.
So, having said that, my concern was, we are looking at future loans, aren't we, for this same entity, and this amendment is probably then going to be built into
The next one. Yeah,
the next loan that we take out. So whether we do it or not on, you know, this amendment for what we've already had, we're kind of going to be able to see it anyway.
Yeah, I would use an analogy that I think Adam did, which was, if you walk into your mortgage closing, and you get the big stack of papers from the bank, there may be provisions there you don't like, but it doesn't mean you can change them if you want the money. And I guess the question is, we need more money than they're giving us in the one round that we've already signed up for, because it's only $15 million a year, I think is the cap, right?
Right, we already went back and got it. So from what my understanding is, for the treatment plant, we have in the water main work, we have all the SRF money currently. We'll need it for other water main work and stuff like that potentially, or whatever else, but
not for this purpose.
Not for this specific one, but going forward. Adam, would it be worth having a conversation with them to nail them down a little bit more? I don't know of any community that's defaulted on an SRF loan, especially a water department that has a secure water enterprise account, which is dedicated to funding water. And if we can nail them down on this amendment going forward, we'll know what we're dealing with. Is if we accept this one as is with no kickback, that means all the ones we're going to get going on. I guess my thing is, they're trying to amend an existing contract. we sort of have to agree to it or not. It's not like they're gonna pull back those funds. I don't think they can legally. Wouldn't this be the time to nail them down on what we want that agreement to look like going forward?
So through you, Chaz, I think it would be, and so I'm happy to hear the dialogue between you and Eric, because as Eric said, the conversation he and I had and the understanding with which I entered tonight's meeting was that there was the need for additional funds. The town had the need for additional funds such that there would be future financing agreements entered into with the state for this PFAS project. And if that was the case, then you may win the battle but lose the war, right? We fight to defeat this financing agreement amendment now, but in 3 months or 6 months when we need additional monies, the terms of the amendment are baked into the new agreement, and in that instance we don't have any leverage. I mean, we always say in the context of contract negotiation, and of course we review contracts on a regular basis for the town of Townsend and the several other municipalities we represent, your negotiating position is only as good as your leverage. And so if you need a service and there's only a single service provider that can provide it, and they're offering you a certain price with all sorts of contract conditions that would not be the sorts of conditions we would typically recommend the town enter into, or that the town wouldn't typically enter into, you may have no choice if you simply don't have any leverage and you need that service or that supply, and the only source is the source with which you're negotiating. And so if there was another financing agreement for this PFAS project that was just around the corner, is it worthwhile to fight the fight now only to eventually be subject to these same terms because we simply need the money? If you're telling me that's not the case, that we don't need any additional monies, that every bit of money we need is already baked into the financing agreement we have in place, then yes, under the terms of that agreement, they're obligated to provide you the funds. And the leverage shifts in that instance to the town, because you're being asked to sign off on an amendment. But if you choose not to sign the amendment, the state is still obligated to provide the funds. At least that would be my initial position.
So at last annual town meeting, we voted in the additional monies for the treatment plant.
Yes.
That means we're already been approved for that by the SRF. So we're close to 19 million in total for the treatment plant and the water main work.
Correct.
Unless something, and they are probably the best municipal loan deal out there. So I can't say we won't need to go there for something else. But for the PFAS treatment plant, unless the regulations change or something dramatic happens, we have all the money that we need right now. So I think it's at least worth having a conversation with them, nailing down. I just thought it was too ambiguous. They listed specifically water quality and didn't say PFAS. I mean, if the treatment plant is for PFAS, then that's what the amendment should be. I would think be directed towards, not just general water quality, because again, if we have to go to them later for something else, I think making an amendment making a change to the amendment now benefits us in the long run. At least we know what we're getting into, and you're not given it. I mean, if anyone wanted to, the stack for that SRF loan had to be about that thick. So I don't know how you feel, but it was very ambiguous. It was just sent out in an email. It wasn't a notification of what it was. I don't know. Like Adam's not wrong. They can basically do what they want, because it is like a loan institution, and if you say no to something in their contract, then you don't get the money. We're talking, PFAS is 0% interest with a certain amount of principal forgiveness. Its general loan terms are 2% interest, on 30-year rates and stuff like that.
So when you say we already have the money, right? We have the money at the 0% with the guarantee or whatever. Is there a potential by not signing this, they could say, okay, well, you didn't sign the amendment, so now you have to pay 6% interest in the money you have?
But you'd never pay 6% mistake. It's always two.
But you know what I'm
Yeah,
trying to get.
Adam, what's the deal on that, you think?
So again, my initial position, I've not had any conversations with the state. We reviewed the amendment. My initial position would be that no, they're bound by the terms of that original agreement, the same way that the town would be bound by the terms of that original agreement. I don't know that they're going to take the same stance. I don't know that they're not going to make threats that, well, if you don't sign the amendment, then we're going to allege that you're in default of the original agreement because, typically agreements have, good faith provisions requiring the parties to work in good faith on reasonable amendments to the baseline contract. So I can't promise you they're not going to allege or claim that you'd be in default or that you have an affirmative obligation to sign the amendment. But my initial position, just because they allege it doesn't mean it's true. Attorneys allege things all the time. They're representing their client's interests. So, I would take the counter position that the town isn't obligated, that they're bound by a contract that they signed and that they've presented an amendment and we don't have any obligation to sign that amendment because we're not asking for anything additional beyond what the state has already committed to in the original loan documentation.
In the minimum, be able to work with them and say, okay, if we have to sign it, we're okay, but we want this language changed and that language changed because it's too ambiguous the way it is.
I mean, at least, I think it's worth at least having a conversation with them and asking them, what's their intent on it and stuff like that. It just, for me, it was a little bit uncomfortable just getting this in a general email with no. Usually when they do stuff like this, like when they announced this program for PFAS at 0% interest and principal forgiveness and all this, there was all this fanfare and everyone was being told exactly what we're going to be in the program. And then to have it changed down the line when a $12 billion settlement, or is it 12 billion? That's the settlement thing. It's a big one. A big number. And then you, 3 weeks later after that comes out, you get this amendment. The Scotch in me kind of goes, interesting. And Adam's not wrong. I'll be honest with you about this. They have the right to argue the points that he just said. I don't know how much leverage we have to make a change in it. It's been a topic of conversation on to everyone that got it.
Well, we had a meeting, 2 weeks ago.
Mass Waterworks over there.
Right, Mass Waterworks did. And we had other communities that are voicing the same concerns that we are in regards to what the amendment is. I agree with you that the rollout of this amendment was kind of odd. The way it came out. I know that I got wind of it from an email to an email to an email until it finally got to me. And it was like a secondary email to an original email. It was just very odd how it came out. The other towns that were involved, or the other entities that were involved in the meeting that we went to, share the same concerns that we do. My personal opinion on the matter is, yes, I think we should have a conversation with them to say, we have some concerns. We have some concerns with the verbiage in this. It's going to be, if it's, pay me now or pay me later, that's the kind of conversation we're going to be having with them anyway.
We just said that, check into it, and then just get back to us. Let's not get ourselves up here. That's my opinion. If we don't sign it and it costs us down the road, then we're in trouble. I mean, I don't know if you agree with it, but I think reach out and just get some clarification, like Todd said, and then just advise us the right way to go.
So I agree with that, and I'm comfortable with it. I want to be very clear. I mean, it's not the timing of this amendment is not coincidental, and I don't think that the state is suggesting that it is. The obvious intention of the amendment is directed toward these additional settlement monies. I mean, the amendment it's a one-page document, and it adds one paragraph consisting of, 2 sentences to the original agreement. So it's not comprehensive. And again, I don't read it. It didn't raise as many red flags for me initially as I think it's raising for other communities, and even for some of those of you that have read this and maybe aren't familiar with how these clauses are often used in other contracts in other contexts. I think that the Commonwealth, the state wants to be certain, again, that if the town has an entitlement to monies and is not pursuing the recovery of those monies, or notwithstanding its recovery of those monies is claiming that it can't make payments back to the state under the original agreement, that gives the state some ground to stand on and say, well, wait a second, you can't tell us you can't pay us when you've received these settlement monies for this are related or this very purpose. Or if you choose not to pursue those monies to which you're entitled, the state wants the ability to effectively step into your shoes and pursue those monies on its own, on your behalf, to ensure that you can repay the loan that you've committed to. So again, that's not unusual in other contractual contexts outside of municipal law, outside of PFAS or contracting with the state. But it is odd that they're seeking this amendment without offering anything in return. I mean, generally speaking, as a matter of contract law, there's consideration exchange. You need something, they need something. There's an exchange of consideration, and that's what binds the contract and any subsequent amendments. And in this case, they're asking you to sign off on an amendment, but they're not giving you anything you don't already have. And so my question to the state would be, why? Why should we sign off on this? Now, again, maybe the answer they're going to give me is because if we don't, they're going to claim somehow, rightly or wrongly, that we're in default under the original agreement. And then you'll have a judgment call to make. You, the board, the water department, there'll be a judgment call to make as to whether you sign off on these additional terms. Do I think the state will negotiate these terms? It's always challenging, when you work with larger entities, and certainly when you work with public entities, state entities, it can be difficult to negotiate changes to a document of this sort, because if they negotiate with you, they have to negotiate with everybody that they've given similar agreements or similar amendments to. It's like the analogy that I drew for Eric with respect to, the standard mortgage that you get when you purchase a single family home. You show up at your closing, you're presented with the documents, you either sign them as is and you get your money and you buy your home, or you don't sign them and you don't get your money and you're not buying a home that day. You can't negotiate even a single line, a single sentence, a single word in those documents. They're non-negotiable. They're standard Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac documents. You sign them as is. And so that is often the position that larger entities, banks, institutional lenders, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts takes in the context of contract negotiation. So I'm happy to have the conversation. I will tell you, I'm not terribly optimistic that it's going to go well.
Quick question. Just even some sort of verification that this doesn't give them the right, even if we're paying the loan back, that they can seize or take or have access to the money we get from any lawsuit. The thing that a lot of people don't realize is a lot of these communities it's in the MDL, which is, what does that stand for, Adam? Multi-district litigation. And that's what this was filed under, the lawsuit. I just want to make sure that we're not signing away our ability to be able to use that money, even if we're paying back our loan. That's the part that bothers me. And maybe I read it wrong. But like I said, it's very, like you said, it's only like 2 lines. And it seemed to me very ambiguous. And I just want to make sure we're not giving up our rights to something that we'll put out money for testing, put out staff time to answer questions and keep the law firms informed of everything. So there's been an outlay by all these entities to take part in this, and it just seemed like at the last minute the state was coming in. I would be more comfortable if I heard something that said, no, this is only if you default or you're not going after this, then the state has that right, other than an interpretation of that. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. It's a legitimate concern. I do fear that the state is not going to be willing to give you that confirmation, verification, Because I hate to continue to draw the same analogy, but I will because it's something I think we can all understand. When you sign that standard Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac mortgage to buy your single family home, there's often a clause that deals with allowing your property to lie in waste. In other words, to fall into disrepair. When you do that, you affect the value of the security interest that the lender is taking in your home. And so even if you continue to pay your mortgage and make your monthly payments, typically those waste clauses will allow the lender to take action against you and actually to step into your shoes and to incur costs to bring your property current and to fix those issues of disrepair because you're not doing it, and then to charge you for doing exactly that. And that's even if you continue to make payments on your mortgage. And so I would liken that to the way that this language is phrased. You're absolutely right, Todd. It's very broad. It's a couple of sentences. It doesn't say that they can do these things only if you're in default, or if you're in default and you fail to cure after a certain period of notice. It doesn't say any of that. It just says that they can step into your shoes. They can effectively attempt to seize these monies to protect their interests, more or less, whatever those may be.
And this is where it gets me the wrong way. When they talk about their funds and all that stuff, the PFAS loan money came from ARPA in the Federal Infrastructure Act. So it's not like the pot of money that we started the state revolving funds with. This is money that was put in to help communities like ours deal with the PFAS issue and not cripple these communities. The other part of it is those loans only help with the building of it, not the actual operations. And, I know a lot of water departments were looking at the lawsuit and helping defray those operational costs, which are not minimal. It sounds like between a rock and a hard place, we're going to have to accept it. I still think it's worth having a conversation with them about what their real intent is, because 2 lines to me for a change in a document for $20 million seems really, really.
It's a catchphrase there.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say it. It's dubious.
We don't know what it is.
Right, it's dubious, and it just makes me nervous, like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
Adam just asked.
Yeah, it's worth, or at least worth asking a question.
I think
So
so.
I'm okay with that.
I'm good.
I mean, you think that's reasonable, Adam, for the firm to reach out to, when Mintz Levin, I think, was there? There's some Mintz Levin attorneys, I think, on some of those emails.
That's correct. So that's where we'll start, and we'll ask the questions and we'll get the answers, and we'll obviously advocate for the town's interests. And based upon what I hear and the feedback I receive, I can have further conversations with you, Eric. And if there's a need for me to appear again before the select board, I can do that as well. But I think that's an appropriate starting place, and let's see how far we get. And if they're hearing it from multiple municipalities, I mean, I've not been a party to these meetings that you refer to, Chaz, but you've kept me up to date on the meeting that occurred a week or two ago and what was said, and the reality that there are other communities that have similar concerns. So unless all of those communities are just going to roll over, I suspect that Mintz Levin is going to be hearing it from multiple attorneys representing multiple towns, and maybe that'll have an effect. There's strength in numbers, so maybe that'll have an effect on their position.
That's exactly what I'm hoping for.
One other question. Strength in numbers, strength in voice as well. Is this worth reaching out to our legislators and letting them know we've received this? Or does that just kind of like kick the beehive when we don't really need to?
So I'll speak as counsel, but I'll let the board chime in on whether it's comfortable doing that. I mean, I have no objection to that. In my experience, it can never do harm. Sometimes you get answers from state senators and representatives that they're not willing to wade into those waters based upon the issue and the position of other of their constituent communities. But there's no harm in asking the question.
I just think we ought to just have ask the question, let's not
All right.
open this up.
Well, I think that's a good first step. Let Adam ask the question, and then if it turns out that it's a worst case scenario,
Yeah, we'd ask.
then
guys
maybe
the other comment.
we ask them.
That's fine. Let's not do a bunch of things at once.
Yeah, no, step by step, I agree with that.
All right.
All right, that's good.
All right. Adam, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Sure, happy to do it. I'll update Eric on my progress. He can update the select board, and as I said, if we need to meet again, we can do that.
All right.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We take your concern.
Well, we're a little late, but I think our former town administrator will forgive us this time. 7:45, discuss the community energy aggregation plan timeline.
It's nice to be back. There's a
Are
couple,
your shoes matched tonight?
well,
Let's see, come on.
not really.
I was gonna say, he's limping.
Yeah, the other foot's falling apart too. There's a couple things I'd like to just cover tonight. One is to present the DPU plan. And seen it before, they made some updates, as what it was then. Any question, answer, or try to answer them. Vote to submit the plan for public review. It needs to be, public needs 30 days to review it. Okay. You then schedule a public hearing after that date. The last thing you might consider doing tonight is appointing a designee to represent the board. This will be like to speed up the process, so this person can sign the electric service agreements, can sign the RFP, can maybe select the actual vendor, all subject to parameters the board sets. But it would simplify the process, not having to convene a board every time there's some process involved.
Designate like named Derek or something like that.
I was thinking it might be someone like Eric, but I didn't want to be presumptuous.
We will.
Yeah, well, that's your prerogative to do that. I can go through the DPU plan tonight, or you can just ask questions. I hope you all got copies. It's about 100 or so pages.
Not a slim.
No, it's not a thing.
Well, there's a lot of process involved that this DPU, Department of Public Utilities, requires the town through its aggregator.
Yes.
And Good Energy is doing all this, and this is what they've documented in this.
And just so the board knows, I did meet with Ross and the folks at Good Energy, and they did walk me through the step by step the entirety of the plan, explained to me in very clear detail about how the plan work. And there's nothing inconsistent with the things that Ross and Good Energy has told us in the various meetings we've had in the past.
Yeah. I did trudge through it. It's very comprehensive. I'm sure that you've looked at it, and I'm quite comfortable with where we're at right now.
I'll save you the airtime of me going through the review for tonight, if you like.
So my one thing, and I have no problem kind of you taking the lead, my one piece of this is how do we know when we get the most bang for our bucks in the sense that the most times are involved? Like if he goes forward and we get represented that it's this rate, but it's a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year contract. And I thought we had predetermined that like, we want to be on a same rotation with a bunch of other towns. So how does he know to say, yeah, let's just do 9 months and then a year from that, at 9 months, we'll join in with Ashby, Leominster, Pittsburgh, that kind of stuff.
Because when we get to that stage, we'll be able to provide you with suggested prices. So if you join now, you might get X price. If you wait, you go to bid with the others, you might get a better price. And those parameters spelled out before you have to decide, but so you'll know what you allow Eric to decide. You can say to Eric, if you get a price that's the X price or less, sign it. If it's more than X, don't sign it. Come bid day, Eric will know the parameters that the board is comfortable with. And in that, you will know whether the 1 year or 2 year or 3 year, what those rates are. And John from Good Energy is saying, well, if you take the 18-month rate, then you'll be in sync with the other towns.
Right, okay.
And part of this plan is to spell out buying groups. So if joining a buying group is advantageous for Townsend, they would recommend that. It turns out you're not in sync and it doesn't make sense, they might say, don't do it. Or like I said, they might recommend a 12 or an 18-month contract, so you're then be in sync a year and a half later.
Okay.
I think we authorize Eric to do that.
Okay.
And we'll come up with
The-
parameters.
I see that the dance, so to speak, is something that Good Energy has outlined. We're fully aware of what's going on. We just need to, I mean, the cogs of the wheel are moving, and we just need Eric to be on top of it to know what needs to be done at what particular time, so that our timing is the best timing, so that we do get the best
Right,
price.
and we don't have to hold a meeting and lose a big price.
Well, and I'll be advising Eric, as will Good Energy. And we're needing to talk to the board and see what their plans are.
That we would definitely schedule a meeting prior to any kind of deadline.
Yeah.
So like the bid day is gonna be on a Friday at noon. That week, we'll have a meeting and Good Energy will present us, like, this is what we think is gonna happen, this is how we've done bids and we've seen other people go out, and we believe these are the range we're gonna get.
So we can say, if it's between this and this, then we'll go for it, kind of thing.
And that, that I think we've already gone through the process with the town's buildings, so we know the price that we're locked into the town's buildings. We
Remind
know-
me the process again, once again, I apologize. But when we get a price, we lock in the price. That still has to be approved by town meeting, right?
No.
No. Okay.
The town meeting on May 2nd approved authorizing the board to buy for them.
Done.
So the board will have to decide the price, and when I did this before, there's 23 towns in one room. And you had to sign within an hour. I mean, none of this bids are good for 30 days stuff that you only did. So you had to sign an hour.
Super.
And Good Energy was in there with contracts for each town and someone to work with each town to explain to them the process. So you might do that with one town, it's a simple process. You might do it with 5, you might do it with more, it depends upon the contract.
Everything's gotta be better than what we're doing with the right now.
And just so, it's maybe news for folks at home too. I did have a meeting with Unitil today. I do know what their rate is gonna be in November. It's gonna be 22 cents. So we know that it's not gonna drop from what it was last winter. They're not going down.
And what's the rate on their delivery? That's the actual energy.
So the supply, which is the rate that fluctuates every 6 months.
Mhm.
And then there's the delivery, which is the chart. So, and Unitil doesn't make any money on the supply. So that's, in theory, they don't care whether we get their default supply or we go to Good Energy and they procure it differently for us.
But
It's the
their
delivery,
rates that are
that's the
keeping
rate. Well, no, the delivery rate is the one that stayed relatively flat for the last 5 years.
Flat, hard flat.
No, the supply is gone
The
up.
supply is the one you're thinking about that's going up and down.
Oh.
The 22 cents. the
My
jump
delivery
was
rate
supply.
this month was 200 delivery, not supply. 384 supply and 200 for delivery.
Well, and this is something I was gonna bring on my TA's report, but it's probably appropriate to have now. We're gonna be putting out some documentation we got from Unitil. They are petitioning, as they do every 5 years, to raise their delivery rates with DP.
Right, and that's what
Not the supply rate that fluctuates every 6 months.
and it's
but
a
the
big
delivery.
raise they're putting in for, is what I heard.
They're putting in for electricity, they're putting in for residential, a 4% increase they're requesting, and for gas, a 15%.
What?
So,
I heard 15, so I just heard the number 15 and just kind of lost it, so.
And so we're not gonna be able to get out from under that delivery charge, but the supply charge.
Right, Rob? Get out from under it somehow.
They've
right?
got, they have their
Right,
own,
municipal.
they have their own municipal light plant since the early 1900s.
Early 1900s, they were thinking, huh?
Well,
Why don't we just go buy it from them?
yeah.
Well, you can, that was one of the solutions that it was in one of those manuals I was reading, was to cut down on delivery, but things, work with the local, local
That's what
community.
But that's what this plan is.
No, this is,
To us be a part of the Groton Municipal Light Company.
So,
But that's a whole separate.
let me just,
This is
that in
just
in the
the-
front.
the-
Stowe tried that 20 years ago to secede from Hudson Light Power, which is a municipal plant. At that time, Hudson Light Power rates were atrocious because they bought a big chunk of Seabrook.
right, well, that's why Pittsburgh is going to.
Hudson Light Power said, you cannot leave. We said, yes, we could. We went to court. We sued them. They sued us. They wanted Stowe to pay for all of their in-town infrastructure, which means, in this case, Townsend would have to buy their poles and wires, and transformers. That number,
And this, what, 2 substations in town.
Oh, yeah, it's hundreds of millions of dollars.
to get out of the distribution fees, you'd have to buy their infrastructure. At least that's what
Yeah.
Unitil would tell you. And then they'd say, oh, and Unitil has all these power contracts going on in the future, so now you gotta buy a chunk of power. Stowe spent 10 years litigating that, and we lost. Well,
Okay,
It's a hard.
so
it's a-
we're
it's
doing
challenging.
what we can do with the half, but the other half is still an issue, and there's nothing we can really do with it without spending millions and millions of dollars. And our solar things will help.
Your best.
so,
It is, and I think that with the research the past research that we've done and the conversations we've had with Ross, I believe that we're taking the best foot forward and trying to.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely not implying that this is a wonderful, it's only one half of
Yeah,
it.
it's only part of the whole issue.
well, if you wanna spend 10 years in court, they spend millions of dollars buying their poles and wires.
Maybe it is the cost of the infrastructure.
We're good, just keep going with it. Thanks, Ross.
So I guess what I'd like, if you need a vote, or just tell me, go ahead, but okay to submit this plan and have it posted online. I think the document we sent you, I got the wrong date for public hearing, so I'm just gonna have to update that date.
It would be October
Third.
3rd, is the date we're gonna have the conversation.
And then you will agree to schedule a public hearing on the third.
October 3rd.
Do we don't need to vote for that, we can just.
We just scheduled it, and you're in the chair.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that.
Okay, and then the final thing, is I guess, well, you don't even have to vote your appoint your designee tonight, but
No, Skate.
Quick question, since you mentioned National Grid's gas prices. My utility, we actually did the same thing with that, natural gas that we did with electricity. If you considered doing that yet.
The board has already authorized me to talk to somebody about natural gas, I guess. For the town. They don't have community aggregation for natural gas yet, but for municipal buildings, you can.
Yeah.
So, I'll entertain elect Eric as the point person for the,
So moved.
second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I knew that was coming.
Okay, and you're going to be submitting that plan, and
Yes.
I'll see you back on the third.
Very, very good.
Any other
Ross,
questions?
Ross,
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir.
thank you. Some business more often.
So you mentioned the winter rate's gonna be apparently 22 cents. So when the town signed the agreement last fall, where they went from 15 to 6, and they actually, they upped their winter rate to 22 cents. We bought in at 15 to 6. And their summer rate is 13.5. So town is a little bit losing money on summer months. But they saved a lot more money in winter months there. And the save again is coming winter.
Say more than 6 months were lower, but we're paying extra, and the 6 months were a little bit higher.
And that's sort of the way the aggregation could work for residents. It's possible the summer rate could be lower than what the aggregation rate is.
But you're gonna save in winter.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
I have to stipulate, as they say, there's no guarantee of saving money. And the goals would get stabilized rates for people, so it doesn't fluctuate during the summer. The goals would get potentially more green energy if that's what the town wanted, and do their best to save money. There's no guarantee.
Well, the goal, yes, is the big one that it's stabilizing so that if these people can plan on what it's going to be, right? So that they don't get surprised with a big bill. That's the big thing. Facebook blows up when they.
Oh, boy, they've been blowing up anyway.
Yeah.
They all got their new bills.
Well, hopefully we can avoid that.
Ross, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ross.
Safe travel back.
Hope your foot gets better, whichever one.
4.6, discuss and review meeting decorum and order policy, board committee handbook, and elected appointed officials. How do you want to approach this?
Well, so this is a general discussion
Yeah.
about the actual policies themselves in the handbook, but appointed officials policy.
Right, so what was brought up to me, which I agreed with, and this is why we put this on the agenda, is that there's a board and committee handbook, and there's an elected and appointed officials policy, so there's two separate things. We had a meeting decorum and order policy that was a selectmen's policy that we want to add to the board and committee handbook. So that's the reason why I wanted to bring that up tonight, so that that one piece can be added to the board and committee handbook, so that it's all in one. It's not a separate.
And I think that mechanically, that's an easy fix as long as it's set of what the board select wants to do.
Right. And that's all it is if we think it should
I
be.
have no issue with that.
When a board or committee, when somebody's appointed, they have the handbook, and in the handbook, it talks about all of what is encompasses the position that they're doing. But more importantly, it does cover the decorum in the order, which I believe is something that we need to make sure that it's all in one collective place, so that when somebody does get appointed to a board or committee, that they have all of that information at their fingertips. And it also allows us to be able to say it's in your handbook. And that's the long and the short of it. And I think that was really it. That's why we wanted to put that on here, right? So I'll entertain a motion to make sure that the meeting decorum and order policy is added to the board committee handbook.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That will make it easier for our HR manager as well. We'll be happy with it. Right. 5.0 ARPA projects. Do you have anything on your
Yes.
reports?
So well, after talking to, so this is an oversight. Correct. After talking to our consultant in ARPA, aware that we discussed it ad nauseam and reviewed it, the board never actually took a formal vote on the town building assessment.
Okay.
ARPA project. So we just need to have a formal vote to accept the ARPA project for S1 for the town building assessment project. And then we can send that off to Jen. I think we figured out where we wanted the money to come from. We discussed it a lot of times.
We just didn't do.
There was a T cross that we didn't cross.
So have we actually gone out, got bids or?
No, we have the RFPs prepared.
Okay,
We're gonna put the RFP out for the town building assessment. Jen just didn't want us to do that until the project had been approved and she signed off on it.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the project for the $40,000 town building assessment from the ARPA.
Town building.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the T is crossed.
So I'm just gonna post the RFP tomorrow.
Okay, and then any other ARPA projects that we have questions on? I actually had a couple. Do we know if the refrigerator or the walk-in was done for the TEO?
I don't.
I heard you were trying to do an addition to put it on, put it in.
So they're working on it.
That's what I heard.
Okay.
But I can.
I will say in general, just to notify the board, I've in my real job, there's a lot of communities and municipalities that haven't gone as far as we have with their ARPA funding. We are like so ahead of the curve on allocating it and following through with our ARPA funding. I know that there's a large municipality that I work in. They haven't even allocated money yet. The pot of money is just sitting there. They don't even know what they're going to separate it into, which I thought was quite surprising. They have to do it by December, if I remember correctly.
December of 24.
Of 24, so they haven't in the year. So,
But still,
yeah.
as I think the board members who were a part of that, it's not necessarily a quick or clean process to get that sorted out. If you don't start,
Right, boys.
there are many municipalities and town managers that I'm aware of, and municipalities I used to work for, who haven't done. They still have huge pots of money sitting out that haven't been allocated.
And I had a phone call asking me how Townsend did it, and I said, well, here's what we did, and I explained the whole process and what they did, and I don't know. I mean, they laughed, but they was like, that's actually kind of smart the way you did it. So
We narrowed it down, right? So,
And I think that the reality is that money is impacting the town now.
yes.
Close to when it was anticipated that it was going to be needed, whereas other municipalities aren't having an impact there.
Well, it's allowing us also to initiate sustainability plans too, which is, my big thing is, we need to plan, and we are, we're planning, but we're executing at the same time too. So that's, I think that's an incredible.
I can check about the TEO walk-in report.
Yeah, I would like just to make sure that if they're running into any problems and there's something else that they need, I'd like to be able to be on top of that. And the reason why I'm doing that is I anticipation of the need for food closets, food pantries, clothing pantries, and all of that is very, very high right now, and it is expected to increase over the next 2 or 3 years. So I want to make sure that they're fully stocked and ready to go, because they do a great job out there.
I read something that they posted out there that they were looking for somebody to give them a bid to build an addition to the side so they could put that in.
Good.
Hopefully they're going to be
They're
successful.
working on it.
We still have time. No, yet, but it's a good time to make sure that they're on
I
track.
just want to get a pulse on that. 5.1, town administrator updates and reports.
Sure. So the first one that I brought forward is that, as members of the board know, that applications was.
Well, yeah, I would never even notice you were gone.
I did.
And so there are a couple of things that I just wanted to bring up to let the board know. One of which I actually think would be helpful. The first is the board had made a request to have town car reviewed. That was done. The car that downtown's for, they did a full service workup on it. It's an immaculate shape.
It's clean, they washed it, it's nice.
It's in good shape.
So now let's sell
So if it's still the board's wish to sell it, right now we can represent it. It's a great shape.
it. No reason for that guy to sit down. None.
I have no problem, so. Just want to make sure when we do it, that we can get the Let's
Bid
bid
it.
it.
Put it out for bid.
we would have to put it out for bid, it'd be a sealed bid process, so we would have to submit a sealed bid
Mhm.
by a certain date.
But my concern is we want to make sure that we get that word that it's out for bid. Like sometimes, like when we get only one or two bids, people don't know. We want to
Sure.
make sure that we get it out there.
What are you saying, the outreach to it?
Right.
Gotcha, okay. I want to capture the value as best we can. That's my
Right.
thinking.
And that's the other, can we put it in the bid?
Sure, we can put them in.
I think we already had a minimum bid there, we give it what? 13,000 in trade,
I think it was 12.
12 to 13.
But I mean, that was consistent with, we looked at Kelly Blue Book value of the vehicle.
So we just started there at least that price, and then minimum bid at 12, you know, that was a guarantee.
So do we need a vote that we want to?
I think it's all, if the wish of the board is to sell the car, I think there should, after that, something, I think there's already been discussion. But I think it's all done.
You guys are all,
Yeah.
you're okay with that?
I make the vote, motion now, we can do it.
So I'll entertain a motion to, put the town car, the hybrid, out to bid to the highest bidder
Reserve $12,000.
with a reserve of $12,000.
That sounds good.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. Here we go.
The other issue, which is a more interesting one, we were approached by a veterans organization. So the Disabled American Veterans, there's a possibility for the town veterans to get paid, which would have kind of a similar service pattern as the senior center vans, which is to pick up veterans, take them to appointments, to provide transportation or otherwise. I think, Jess, you and I talked about the need for that sort of service, especially in a town like Townsend where, the elder population is increasing. We're gonna have more need for this, not less. And so they went out to make a request from the federal government to a van, and they've gotten it approved. The trick is,
Yeah.
I'm an officer of DAB, so.
it has to be parked at a federal facility. The only federal facility in town is the post office, and they don't have one. So
That's amazing.
they asked whether or not if the town allowed it to be parked in a town parking lot, would that be sufficient? And they heard back that if the town authorized it to be parked in a town facility, officially, right,
Doesn't have to be in a building.
then that's be in a garage or building, and I told them that, I said, we don't have interior space, he's like, no, parked in the back parking lot. Then, they
I was
believe,
shocked at the post office because the whole back of it was sent to the other behind but they didn't want to have any liability.
and
Well, it's that, and they also have that big truck that pulls in early in the morning that needs the swing.
yes, the swing around the back, but either way, so they were making a request to the town as to whether the board would be willing to allow them to park the
And-
DAV van.
The plan for the vehicle is to do runs they would have set runs for hospital visits down there to make plans.
Good.
So that's the number. Sorry, you have a hospital visit, but the nice thing about it, you're not limited just to that. So if you're back, if the van's back and somebody says, you really need to get to the grocery shopping and stuff like that, you can use it outside of doing hospital visits.
Who pays for that person?
That's all through the DAB
Yeah,
and through the
nice.
vets and the drivers, like I would be a licensed driver, we have to get all certified licensed drivers, but the drivers themselves are all volunteers as well.
Very nice.
So-
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I told them that I would put it in front of the board to see if the board would be willing to allow them to park.
I'm willing to allow them.
Yes.
So I think just because I know we're dealing with the federal government, I think we should have a formal vote on that from the board, and then we can put it in writing that the board already wants us to speak about it. So,
I'll entertain a vote to allow the DAB van to be parked in town, on town property.
So moved,
What?
it's so moved, and then we'll go.
Second.
I don't have to excuse myself because I'm an officer. Maybe I just wrote.
I actually, it probably is the best practice for you to recuse yourself.
Okay.
So then.
So moved.
Yeah.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
I'm gonna recuse myself.
Okay.
Yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes.
Okay, so we'll put that in writing for them, so the board will go tonight to allow them to use that.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they anticipate, Teresa told me wrong, they anticipate getting that van relatively
Right.
soon.
Not only that, if it works out and we have enough rides, then they said, look, if it's another one, if it proved you need it. So,
Well, transportation, when we did our survey, for the elder populace and veterans, transportation was number one of both of those.
They need it. They
It's a
really
big, it
do.
really is a big deal. There's a reason why we had another van in the senior center.
Yep.
And it's in full use now. They're getting new vans, and it's just one of those challenges that towns don't have access to. And reliable public transportation.
It's free money. Services.
That second van get parked over at for the library seniors over there, right? Under the canopy.
It's going to be, quite frankly, eventually both of them are going to be under the cameras. That's the most perfect.
Oh, yeah,
Part
right there, right there, yeah.
But yes, so, yeah, no, you just knocked it right out of my head. There's something that I just remembered that I need to bring up.
Take your time, don't worry.
You can always come back to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would. Necessarily.
We'll let you come back on if you.
Thanks, appreciate that.
Liaison reports.
I have
Right, so that would be general. I wish I could say that. Let's see, for recreation department, we did have a discussion today. Did anything happen with the core requirements and the drug testing? Did we go any forward, or do you want me to talk to Kelly about those? What happens is that when the counselors do the summer, they have to do the Corey and the drug
I talked
testing.
to Callie about it immediately after we had the initial conversation. So she's like, yeah, we will allow this to be eligible for as long as they let.
Excellent.
Okay. So they don't have
Because that would help out. And it's only the parents are saying, bring in a 16-year-old 2 times a year to get drug tested. Let's see. The old printer, that was the other one. Not the Lexmark that we're gonna put in the bottom of the ocean, but the other one. We can talk about that, or at least some relief for the large printing jobs that the rec department needs to do, right? So we can talk about that. The MIS department, we did a new system upgrade last Friday. Somewhat smoothly is what Brad and I have decided we're going to report. It had some computers needing to be reset. Anyone else having problems are reporting it directly to Sabrina so that Sabrina can coordinate the communication between Guardian and the town. And just a reminder not to let people notify the help desk on their own, because that is going to take a back burner because it has to get approved by either
Sure.
you or I. And
I've told them that, you know, your best bet is to reach out to Sabrina. Sabrina's been authorized to do stuff. If you go around her, it's actually gonna take,
it's going to take much longer.
and so they're gonna take longer.
And I see an email, it's like, well, I'm taking Sabrina's first because that's the chain of command. So, select board chambers now has a larger TV, as you can see. We're going to be installing that. We're going to try to work on the microphones for what we have here. It's been very muddy. I've been working very closely with TCAM to figure out what the story is. I have a new USB cable. We're going to try to run it through the OWL 3 instead of going from the OWL bar. There's a couple of things we're going to try, but that should clean it up. We do have the new conference tables here. It's in the garage. So this table is going downstairs. The smaller TV is going to be going down in meeting room 2 so that we can take our old OWL and set it up down there so that they'll be able to have those meetings relatively easy. We're going to have to work on a laptop for downstairs to get that equipment set up. That would be the next step. We are working and discussing the Wi-Fi assessment and mapping for Memorial Hall. We had a meeting and we have a plan of action, and then we are in negotiations, I guess, with the wiring to get somebody coming in there to do the new wiring for it. There's a lot of old stuff. There's a lot of new stuff. I'm getting tired of calling them the building right now. We're working with Guardians on the preliminaries with the fire and the police station for the WAN, the wide area network, for the fiber to the municipal buildings. They have, I put in a ticket so that's whenever they have an agreement, they're going to see what they need to do is find out where the wiring is going into the building and what equipment we need to set up there. The fire and the police can do whatever they want with those connections, but for right now, we just need to get it into the building. And we have server upgrades, and that's what's been the problem the past few days, since Friday, I guess. We had to, with updating the drives and the paths to the drives along with the updating on the servers. Some things didn't go as smoothly as we thought, so we've gotten somebody's turned on their computer to go into their files, and all of a sudden the comment files and the drives are gone, so we had to recreate the drive. It's a long story, but we do meeting with them on the 28th. And I do want to say on town properties, they still need volunteers from the Highway Department and Conservation Commission for town properties. There's 2 slots open. Water Department, as you heard, we're moving forward. They're moving forward on the new treatment plant. Foundation's being poured and walls going to be erected in the next couple of weeks. What we talked about earlier, the WTP trust document, we're working on that. We'll report back to the board in their next meeting on what we talked about tonight. And the Water Department is going to meet with the Affordable Housing Trust about an easement for Zero Blood Road in West Down, for the easement for the water replacement. I've notified the Affordable Housing Trust in regards to that, so we just need to coordinate them. Okay. Cemetery and Parks continues with the upkeep of 3 cemeteries, and is now looking to make accommodations for new acreage for expanding the existing footprint. So that's what I was saying earlier, is that they're doing a lot of work. Those guys are pretty busy. Also, I wanted to thank all the work on the gazebo project again. We have these. Thank you for doing that. We're going to be sending those out this week. And they're always open, like we said, to assist other departments when necessary. It's nice to be able to see that. Gazebo project is complete, and the work is incredible. I think if you guys haven't seen it, you need to go out there. I am just amazed at the flooring that Todd put in. It's quite a good representation of what the town is all about. It looks really great. A special thank you to Karen Clement and Amy Harrington for spearheading the lawn party for last Thursday for the kids' country playground. Money raised was, are you ready? $729.68. I thought that was great. So that's the first major fundraising for them, and there's a couple more planned coming up. I have already pledged that I will help them out with that. If anybody else is interested, please feel free. But there was a lot. We had a lot of food, and the kids had a lot of fun. It was really nice. That was the most packed that I saw the common for this summer. So I thought that was really good. And the band played on, so it was fun by all. Even the police officers stopped for hamburgers. I thought that was kind of cool too. So I'd like to give everybody involved in making the gazebo project thank you very much. And the select board appreciates everything that everybody did. Land use and zoning. I have contacted the new land use coordinator so that her and I can sit down and talk about what I can do to help out with the land use. She says she's still getting her bearings on getting things together. So we'll set up that in the next few weeks. The planning is the first for to use the new L-bar and L3. And that's kind of, that worked out much better than I expected as well, but we'll get more as we go along. And the planning board still has a vacancy and is looking for a volunteer to assist with their work. Please fill out a volunteer form on the town's website. But wait, there's more. Townsend Historic District, they held a meeting last week. It was normal business for them. They're wanting the Affordable Housing Trust to give a presentation to the commissioners for the Community Preservation Act in the upcoming meeting. They would be eligible for some funding for some projects that they have that they would like to do. And I'm kind of helping them with some direction on how they can do some of that. As a liaison, I discussed with them the options on how to raise money for their operations. And we talked about applying for a budget request this fall for a nominal budget. So at least they can cover some of the postage and all of that kind of stuff that they're looking at. Nothing major, like $1,000. Also, we talked about working with the grant writer for funding. What they're looking for is they'd like to see some signs that says you're entering a historic district like other towns, to put those up in our 3 historic areas, which I think is a very good idea. And we'll point them with the grant writer if they see anything. And then working with me for the Community Preservation Act funding and they're looking at historic plaques for some of the historic buildings. And that would be the funding that they would kind of zero in on for. And they still have a vacant commissioner spot open, and they're looking for volunteers for that as well. TCAM, I haven't heard anything about that. MBTA and transportation. The MART bus that we have to and from Fitchburg has been operational, and I think we need more media exposure to the public. We're trying everything that everybody's suggesting, but we just need to increase ridership for that. For the first year, it's going to be free, and then after that, it will be a charge for it. So we're trying to. I know that Sabrina's been trying to contact Fitchburg State and the community colleges in the area, but because it's summer, we're not really getting any feedback. So we're hoping in the next couple of weeks that somebody will be there. The new EOHLC, the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, formerly known as DHCD, released on August 10th a new compliance guidelines for the multifamily zoning districts under the Section 3A of the Zoning Act. I don't know if you saw those. Interest. This is in response to talks about the MBTA communities planning for the towns affected. There's 4 revisions that they came up with, and I'll be presenting those revisions that have come up. They're really kind of specific, allowing MBTA communities housing in walkable and transit-oriented neighborhoods, like specific things that we had questions on, and now they've answered to it. So those, I'll touch base with all of those interested with the MBTA communities folks. And then I attended the finance committee, and they do, I think they're unsung heroes for the town because they crunch the numbers and, you know, they do a really good job and I appreciate all of their work. They reviewed their membership requirements. They looked at fiscal year 23 transfers for process enhancements, which I thought was a really good idea. They saw what we had done for the process and then said next year maybe we should try this, and I think that's a really good idea. And then they looked at the overall budget process to set for future meetings. I'd also like to add on to that to see what we need to do for the budgeting software that we can and how that's going to be implemented. I would like, if we needed to, that I could present it to them if you think that that is necessary and how we're going to do it. So that
Sure, I mean, it doesn't cover.
It's already the training software, or the new software they want, it's already on.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
We all had access to that, right, the practice one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's the one. So,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. And then that we took all the historical data that we did and put it in there just to make sure that when we do the next one, that it's all going to be together. So that's it. It's a little busy.
Kind of
But
into
What else have you been doing? What else you doing?
put hamburgers left.
You guys work it all?
I do. I do.
I'm not gonna be quite as long as you are, but public safety, you hit on a couple things. Conservation, last meeting I was at, they asked about updating the Wi-Fi and a little more speed in their area, and I think I told them that you guys are working on that to try to get better connecting in there.
Yeah, we're going to get them hardwired as opposed to working off the Wi-Fi.
So they, you know, I just thought I would bring that up and just let them know that you are working on that. Janet down in the building department, again today, she's asked me the same question I've asked a couple times. What are we doing with the console that was supposed to be set up for building permits? They're supposed to be in that office.
I don't know what that's all about. Is it a kiosk?
That's a kiosk.
But it's a computer. You and I should talk about it. It's gotta go through Guardian to order it.
But it's something that was part
It's
of
gotta be a
that.
lockdown PC. The only thing that can access to is the online.
A desktop.
Yeah, it's for the online, so someone can come in and sit right there, file online, because they're trying to do all that online permitting. But they need a kiosk there to do it.
But not do anything else.
Yeah. Okay.
So she keeps asking, I tell her the same thing.
Do we have any documentation on what the parameters are on that?
So we originally contemplated, so Janet has an older desktop for her own kind of her personal desktop. And so I think that the best practice would be, since we have a budget now to kind of roll out new computers every year, that we roll out a new computer for Janet and repurpose her computer as the kiosk.
Okay, so if she wants a computer, or would she be okay with a laptop? Does she have a laptop that she can use as a desktop? Because we can set her up with a docking station and she can use the laptop there.
I don't know whether she had one.
She had one, but she turned it back in.
I think that would be why I think.
Right, Eric was gonna use it, didn't use it. There was a controversy on that.
Right, so if you could do me a favor,
My guess is that Janet doesn't, but I can certainly ask.
but it's not whether she wants it or not, is that she's gonna have to get one because that's actually cheaper for us to get a laptop.
The PC, the desktop?
Oh,
Okay.
It's much more, it's easier for us to reconfigure that desktop to be a standalone for what they're looking for, because we would just we'd either wipe out the hard drive or put a new one in there. That's an easy thing. But with her, with the functioning that she did, she's better off with the laptop because it's going to process much quicker, you know, and it's going to be less expensive for us.
So I think we need to just put it, I'll just send it.
I mean, we can get a laptop and she just plugs the laptop in and set it aside.
Yeah,
She
it's
can
the
have a
setup that
keyboard.
I have,
Yeah.
keyboard and the double.
It acts as though it's the same desktop model, but it's.
But I guess my point would be, I mean, we've been telling her we're gonna work on it, we're gonna do it for months. I think it's time we need to just do it. Yeah,
Let's do this. I'll put a timeline on it. I'll have a talk with Brad. And we'll get it rolling and I will I'll let you know to let him know.
Well, I can just let Janet know.
Right.
and then she'll reach out when I see it. She reaches out to me when I come in the building. She just, keep me updated how things are going. Other than that, everything's going well. She's looking forward to, someone new coming on. I mean, I think the assistant that is filled in for us, we owe him a great Peter, thank you on that. That was really, he stepped up to the plate.
Mhm.
I haven't heard any real complaints about inspections not being done. Janet and him have worked together very well. It's Roger.
Roland.
And so I want to put a thank out to him for that. Police department, status quo, nothing really major going on there. Chief Sartell feels pretty confident things are running smooth. We've had some conversations about different things. We've talked about, one of the big things for him to keep employees for a lot of money is retirement. That we're going to try to figure out down the road. Hopefully we can make it work. Because like he says, we invest thousands of dollars in these new officers. Even the police department send them to school, get them trained. They stay here for a few years. They go to a community that has it. We lose a lot of great officers, and that's something we really, as a community, have to look at. We can't keep doing that. Fire department, well, been a couple conversations I've had with Mr. Shepherd. I don't know. I got CC'd a letter today. Can I just read this into them to they see it, or did they get a copy of this letter from Mr. Shepherd?
I don't know that they were, I don't think they were copied.
No,
So-
I didn't get one.
I can read it.
Sure, I mean, you and I talked about it, yeah.
I just think everyone needs to know the letter came from, I got CC from Mr. Shepherd. I'll just read it to you. It says, Sabrina, after a review of this and the activities around the fire department, I offer this. I would like the fire department to take control of all of our buildings, inside and out. If this is acceptable for the town administration, we gave $15,000 to the town for maintenance. If that were to be refunded to the fire department, we could manage our buildings and take care of responsibilities for all our issues. Most recently dealt with an HVAC issue and had all the units cleaned and updated for PM. Not been done in some cases since new. I have instructed my staff on the protocols of these buildings and think by doing so will lighten the load for others and while utilizing and tracking all maintenance related issues on all three buildings and grounds. Since many of these issues are hitting our budget, I think the control and monitoring will be seamless while lessening the load for others. So he just, in my conversation with him, he's had some concerns. Some of the issues haven't been addressed on some of the fire department buildings. So, however, that has to be addressed. I think that just needs to be looked at.
So this just came in, so I haven't had a chance. I think any discussion about budget, begin FY25 discussion. So, and also the collective bargaining session. So that's
That's a bigger issue than what it's presenting to be. That's
Right.
exactly
We
how I.
want to compensate others when we got rid of the landscape.
yeah, that there's money that was transferred into the Parks and Cemeteries budget to deal with mowing.
So we, yeah, it's not like just, okay, Gary, know.
I mean, I think
No, I think it's a bigger thing. It just, we
I
gotta
just
look
haven't,
at it.
I just
Yeah.
haven't had a chance to talk to Gary about it. and his
Well,
concerns.
yeah, and I'd like to, you and I discuss where our thoughts are, and then we can put it on a future. We can figure out what we want to do.
I think the first, so I do need to have someone else that I'll talk to.
Yeah. Well, just,
I can report.
my biggest concern is some of these buildings are brand new. And, you know, I think it's very important that, you know, the amount of money that was donated in all these buildings, that we as the stewards of those buildings, and the three of us are ultimately responsible to make sure those buildings are taken care of 100%. You know, I've had
Yeah, I don't
conversations.
think anybody disagrees with that, it's just that who is the alternate group to be responsible? I
That's
think
the
that
question.
we need to, I think we need to have that, like you said, for everybody, we need to have a clear line. Is it yours? Is it yours? Is it yours?
Well, I think I guess that might be the point, that might be, it just, if this is the maintenance department, they do it. If this is the fire department, they do it. If this is parking cemeteries, this is what we do.
And my hope is that's gonna dovetail into a discussion about the building assessment. Yes.
Yeah,
We're gonna have the
yeah.
building assessment, hopefully they come back and then we'll have a kind of a better.
My goal
roadmap
is,
view.
yes, to be able to not only have the delineation of who does what, but then now we have a 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plan.
Of what needs to be done.
Yes.
The knowns, and then there'll always be unknowns, but at least we'll have the knowns.
We can always set a contingency on the budget as well, so. you know,
But we don't even
Right.
know the knowns now.
Like that building brand new.
We do when they come
There's
up.
some things they didn't even know had to be done that should be being done in that building. You know, that's especially a makeup system in there in the firehouse with all the foam walls and styrofoam. So it just, who's
The
responsible?
system
Who
with
is-
the exhaust and all
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And when that system went down, there's no air in that building whatsoever.
Yeah.
Now that creates a problem. You know, health-wise for our employees. So, not picking on anybody, I just would like to see a solid line of communications, who's doing what and when and how.
Right.
That's all I.
It's not that good.
I did remember the thing over here, so that's okay. I did receive a call from Mark today about the bus. Yes, the shuttle. So don't have any ridership. They're making a request to the town that they cut the Sunday
For now.
for now. Because it's a challenge on getting, for them to get a driver to do just one shot on Sunday, which is what they're having to pay. But we're also talking about tweaking some of the times. So he's gonna send me a proposal to tweak some times to line up with with the trains that are coming in and provide kind of a longer window for people who think traveling into Boston and traveling back.
Okay.
So I'll present that proposal when it sends it back, but he did want to just make sure.
Would
it's okay.
moving it out, like, they have like the pickup back here, like, whatever, the morning time is, that, would moving, you keep it there, you do everything there, but for morning pickup, move it, like out across from the church, out by the town common, so people are like used to seeing it, they.
I think it's more about parking though.
Oh, it's
You know, like, I mean, the reason why it's here is because it's here, it's just they can park. They can park in this parking lot, and the parking out there is already carried, especially in the morning, because when
Yeah.
Cliffs is open, it's hard to find any kind of parking around the intersection.
Well, and the thought is that they could park in the municipal lot that down by Adams Dam too, if they needed to. But the goal for us our plan is to have parking down here.
Exactly, but I'm just wondering, even if we don't, like.
Thinking about, you think about people seeing,
About, yeah, having it out there, maybe even on the Sunday when they're not driving, having it out there, you know, up in the town common there, you know, one of those. Parking, you know, just park out there kind
well, the bus doesn't stay here, the bus stays in Pittsburgh, so it wouldn't be here on a Sunday.
of. That's not gonna work. We'll come through. You'll think of something, Chad.
Well, thanks for remembering.
5.3 announcements and communications. You want to take a stab at any of these or what?
Well, I know about the hidden battles. They do a lot of work with mostly, they say mostly PTSD. But it's not just a veterans organization. They also work with police and firemen. They have a couple of things coming up, golf tournament, October 13th, and 7th annual cornhole tournament, September 23rd, for suicide prevention. They call it the pitch for prevention of PTSD and suicide. So that's September 23rd at 10, between 10 and 3. Where is that? U.S. Bunting Club, Boylston Street, Lowell. You know what a bunting club is? Okay, that's where it is. At the bunting club.
It's south. It's actually south of Orange. It's a little bit of old.
The Heroes Live Forever Memorial Road Race is just that. I just got that one up too. This is also an event for veterans, but not just veterans. And this race itself is to honor an EMT that has passed. Let me pull up her name. Do you have her name? Oh, you do.
Yeah. Tracy.
Tracy Ferraza. So it's a walk run. They actually are also doing a rucksack with it. It's in Baldenville, Massachusetts. And as I said, this is to raise funds in memory of Templeton, the woman from Templeton, but the race is involved with Tracy Ferraza. That I know about the new one.
We do have a healing garden that are they received a grant for $410 made in July to the healing garden. This was, did we do the grant? There's a letter here that is to the town of Townsend that says, "Dear friends, thank you for the grant award of $410 made on July 20th, 23 to the Healing Garden. Thanks to your generosity, the Healing Garden continues to provide support and services both on-site and virtually to adults on any type of cancer at any stage, their caregivers, and those who are bereaved from cancer." I guess we had made a donation or something. I'll look into that, but that was dated August 2nd, sent to the town. I said that I would announce this one from my friend Claire. This is from the Townsend Historical Society, and the Townsend Historical Society is currently organizing a Scarecrow Festival to be held on the town common on October 14th. In order to promote this fun day, society members will be erecting scarecrows about town to keep this event foremost in people's minds. In placing them around about town, we will be circumspect to the traffic obstacles and private property. When they were talking about it, they were very animated. They'll have scarecrows around the town holding certain signs that are going to point you to the town common for the festival, and it will be on town common on October 14th. So when I have more information, I will bring that forward. There you go, Claire. Go ahead and read it. The Conservation Commission has 2 open vacancies, one vacancy term ending June 30th, 24, and the other June 30th, 2026. If anyone knows of anyone living in Townsend with a background in conservation or environmental science would be interested in serving on the commission, please let me know. And this is from our conservation agent, Matthew Matos.
So I have two other things. One announcement, which is it's actually a sad announcement, which is we received a resignation from that.
Okay.
Conservation agent
Huh?
for health reasons. He's allowed me to share it because it's a full cancer. So it's undergoing some serious treatment. I we did our best to let them know that we want to stick around. And we doesn't feel like he needs to focus on his health right now. So,
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that.
so it's very sad. So we did post for his job that posted.
Okay.
But Matt's done a really good job as the conservation administrator. And
Yeah, you stepped up, you did a great job.
Put together something.
and the other thing is, I apologize, this is from highway. The highway department is seeking approval. This is kind of routine approval for use of Chapter 90 funds. That estimated cost of the program. So the highway department is asking to reclaim and resurface Laurel Woods Drive. The estimated cost of the project is $363,683.95, which would be funded from Chapter 90 funds. So Jim is requesting a vote and the signatures to approve the use of those Chapter 90 funds.
We had, there was an increase in the Chapter 90 that we didn't expect. That wasn't part of it. And this is the extra. And this is something that Jim had on the burner. And I said, throw it. Let's get it done.
Get the road paved, we need road paved.
Yeah, so I guess it would be a vote to authorize the highway department to expend $363,682.95 Chapter 90 funds.
So, second.
Any discussion?
Good job, Jim.
All
Hey,
all those
Jim
in
can
favor?
spend money like nobody else.
Aye.
Aye.
So when you sign other stuff,
Yep. We can put that.
Just double checking, did you do 3.6 and 3.7 reappointments? I
Yes.
didn't have them checked off.
Yes.
Okay, I guess it's-
The last thing I have here is, this is a resignation. Everett B. Olson III, Townsend Fire EMS Department. And thank you, Mr. Shepherd. And next meeting, 5.4, September 5th, 2023 at 6 p.m. And 5.5, I'll entertain a motion to review and sign payroll and bills payable warrants out of session.
So,
Any discussion? All those in favor?
right,
I'll say that.
All those in favor? Aye.
So there was a discussion to have a meeting next week on September the 20th.
Oh, you wanted to know? Okay.
Well, so we said the next meeting was September 5th.
I wasn't sure if we are going to have going
To
forward.
have there will likely be a meeting that we're starting on September 20th.
Okay, so 8/29.
Always sweet. Don't pay attention to me, Joe. I'm still out of vacation brain.
so why are we having?
29
As a response to the Board of Health issue.
at 6 o'clock. Is that the time?
6 o'clock.
Okay, here,
Yes. So that.
and September 5th.
Yes.
All right, I just clarified that.
The 29th is the agenda will be submitted for that.
Correct, and it would just be the one item,
Right.
depending on how it goes.
Yeah, I just have to talk to, depending on what happens between now and tomorrow afternoon. I have to talk to the council.
Point of information, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, regarding town properties and planning.
Yep.
Just 2 points. On town properties at our March meeting, Kevin Smith, who is also serving on conservation, offered to fill the conservation seat, noting that perhaps it might be easier to have a general member, come rather than one from a department. So we're waiting to hear from conservation on that. And then on planning, we do have a full board. There are no vacancies on planning. Okay?
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Done, thank you.